I had a realistic dream in which I was hanging out with Harry Styles. Birdie has turned me into
A stan.
like a real stan.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Busy Phillips is doing her best with Shantira Jackson, Caissie St. Ange.
Hello.
Hi.
All of us collectively.
And you have a glass of wine.
It's a rarity. I know.
Yeah.
And I haven't been drinking since the strep throat incident
Right.
of 2021. But tonight is a snowy night in New York where we made frozen pizzas
Aw.
in the pizza
Ooh,
oven.
nice.
Well, because the ovens in this rental suck. And we made these cupcakes for Harry Styles' birthday.
Sure.
And we had such a great oven situation in our home in Los Angeles. So now I'm going to cry. I can't, you guys. Those Wolf doesn't fuck around.
It's true.
Guys, it took like 55 minutes to cook these fucking cupcakes. That's not right.
That's too
What?
long.
What is it? A real
Cupcakes are like
oven?
fast. That's why we were doing cupcakes.
Yeah.
I don't want to put the brand on blast.
No. But
Yes.
it's funny. New Yorkers are not known for being big cooks like
Yeah.
apartment dwellers in New York. A lot of people store their clothing in their ovens in New York City.
Well, we're storing our clothing. Sorry, I'm eating, guys. You know what I mean? I can't right now today. We're storing our clothing in the gigantic wine fridge that takes up half the
There you
living
go.
room
Yeah.
in this rental house.
There you go.
Who the fuck? Listen, even if you did have 300 bottles of wine, let's just say you were like a wild person who fucking loves wine and you have 300 bottles.
Yeah.
That's too many.
Like, it's too many. Why would you ever need 300 bottles of wine? A. B. Why are they in the middle of your living room? Why can't they just live downstairs in the basement?
It seems like maybe that person's like a collector and they're like proud of their collection, I guess. And like to gaze upon it.
I looked into how much it would cost because, most people know this. I just hadn't rented in a long time. Mark and I bought that house so many years ago. So I guess like the general rule is you just have to return the house in the condition that you like found it in. So I legit looked into how much it would cost to remove the giant ass wine fridge and then have it put back. It's prohibitively expensive.
Oh my God. You're like Prince. When Prince, did you ever hear that story about Prince like rented?
Caissie, you know I haven't.
It's okay. I'm going to tell you, Prince rented this basketball player, Carlos Boozer's house.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know who that is.
yeah. And he just like took out all the carpets and made a beauty salon in one of the rooms, like installed sinks and painted everything purple. And I believe he like changed the address to like a number that he felt was better for him.
Wait, how could you change an address? Also, there's a ghost on your screen.
just
right
like-
Oh
now,
yeah, that's
Caissie.
really weird. What is that?
It is
It's Prince?
It's Prince.
It's Prince.
Yeah.
Prince does not want me talking about this, but Carlos Boozer was like, I'm going to sue you, Prince. You ruined my house. And then Prince was like, let's just handle this like gentlemen. I'll write you a check.
Yeah. Also, Prince probably made your house better, but you can change the address. When I used to work for Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, I went to his
We need more of those stories. by the way.
Yeah. Right?
I went to his mansion. I don't know if he sold it. Formerly Mike Tyson's mansion in Connecticut. And when you pull up, I don't even remember the neighborhood. It's like some bougie, rich neighborhood in Connecticut. But you pull up, and I don't even remember the numbers, but it was like 328, 330, 332, 50. So he like changed. And like all the neighbors were like supposedly mad because all the numbers were right. And he just was like, my house address is 50. And they were like, what? And he paid. And that was his address. And everybody else's address was different. So the fact of the matter is, I've said this before, there are rules. But if you can pay, they're not rules. They're just rules for poor people. They're fines for rich people. They're rules for poor people.
That's that's the way it is, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's start off. Let's just start off the podcast right.
Sure.
Shantira, what are you doing your best at this week?
Handling my GERD.
That GERD comes to get you, boy.
I got a new prescription. I'm drinking warm
Great.
water. I'm looking into
Great.
like going to a chiropractor to readjust my stomach. Like, you guys,
Fantastic.
my GERD is out of control.
How are those boobs doing? How are the boobs healing?
The boobs are feeling great. They are. I just got officially. I can work out. And I was like,
Nice.
He was like, you can lift whatever you want, kind of, And I was like, here's the thing. I ain't going to be lifting that much shit, but I appreciate the permission. Yeah, that's what I'm doing my best at is going into the year, trying to figure out a way to get off these GERD medications. I want to be medication free. So that's where I'm at.
I feel like that's great. I have like a holistic thing to say.
Oh, yeah. Tell me. What's up?
Whoa. Because I went through really brutal, remember, over the summer. And then right when we started doing the podcast, I was having really bad acid reflux.
Yeah.
Was I when we started or not really?
Probably. Let's say.
Had I gotten-
Yeah, probably.
I know
maybe,
you were
yeah.
going for a lot of different things. So I just assumed that
I was
like,
going
it was a part of the amalgam of stuff.
Okay, but truly somebody said this to me and I do think that it's worth taking like just a moment at some point, not right now, and like really thinking about it. But is there something that you're having a hard time swallowing or something that you don't want to say, you don't want to face?
Oh yeah, me and my partner talked about this because a lot of sensitive people are sick right now. Like their skin is out of control. Like I have a friend who was like, my skin's been so wild and like now I'm allergic to like every scent. So he was like, I have to like use baby lotion, and he was like, it's out of control. So like, and then I called my best friend and I was like, how are you feeling? She was like, I'm sick. Like not like cough sick, but like my skin hurts, my stomach hurts. And I think that a lot of sensitive people are doing a lot of purging in their body, whatever that might be. But yeah, it was like if you're having like a skin thing, it's like you're getting rid of stuff. And if you have like acid reflux stuff, you have to take focus what's around you and what you are putting in your body, and that's not just like what you eat, but like your surroundings. So you're right, Busy. But
I also think paying attention to like emotional things that like you are holding in that you need to say, like specifically like things that need to come up and out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, something for us all to think about this week.
It's true.
It's true. And maybe you at home, if you're suffering from something, I always like to look at what it corresponds to like emotionally when you get ailed by something. And because who is that? What is that woman's name? Do you guys know who wrote that book? And she's got the crazy list online and it's like sinuses, marital issues.
Oh,
like, swear
I
to
don't
God.
know.
Like she has like
I'm
everything.
Gonna look it up. I'm intrigued.
Will you look it up?
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up. You want me to look
Wait,
it up
look
now?
it up right now.
All right. Wait, I'm gonna mute it because my keyboard clackety clacks.
That's so sinuses are marital issues, or that was just an example.
No, I think they are.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I'm in a fight. Not a fight. I always say Mark and I have had like a few discussions where he's like, you have to stop saying we're in fights about stuff when we literally have just like had a nice discussion about a thing, and then you're like, we're in a fight. No, I'm just texting with Eric Gorian because, well, let's just get to what I'm doing my best at this week.
What?
Okay.
Our show's wrapping up. And, I'm not really supposed to or allowed to talk about much of what we're doing on the show. But I have to say, guys, there's a pole dancing situation for my character, Summer. And I am doing my best at pole dancing. I'm really, and like super committed to like working really hard to get good at it so that there's no doubles.
Yeah.
It
looks like you're doing good at it.
No, I'm doing so good at it. But like Also, you know me, I only want to do it if I'm going to be the best.
Right.
I think that that's a cancer thing because I don't want to try. I mean, like, not try anything new. I want to try things new, but I don't want anybody to ever see me until I've done it for 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's largely a trait that a lot of women share.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyway, so I've been really working hard. And I'm just texting with Eric because of this snow day that happened today.
Ooh.
But pole, like, just so we all are on the same page here. Like, pole work is incredibly athletic and real fucking intense. And as this is a Hollywood break, sort of, but sometimes in television shows, they will write things in them and they won't really think about the reality of what it will mean on the day. And so I immediately, like, I can look at someone on a pole. I'm super athletic, and I'm sure they look at me and they're like, oh, Busy does that leg fit every day. I'm sure she can, like, swing on a pole. And the showrunner Meredith was like, what do you think about pole dancing? I'm like, I would love to try that. That sounds awesome. But sometimes on TV shows, what ends up happening, because you're just crunched for time and whatever, is that they're like, okay, they wrote this thing and you have exactly 3 hours to learn how to do it, which in this case was just not going to fly. Because I also, like, I don't know. I just hate the idea of, like, a body double doing a thing that, like, maybe I know I could figure out how to do. So anyway, I've been working really hard. I've been training. I've been paying for my own, like, classes on the side. The studio's been paying for me to have classes. I got this teacher who I love, Yumiko. I, like, Googled New York pole dancing and found Foxy Fitness.
Ooh.
And Yumiko is so rad and so strong. And, like, I loved it. And as soon as I met her, first I was training with Hannah, this woman who was awesome and is, like, she's like an acrobat.
Yeah.
She looks like an acrobat.
Yeah.
Like, she looks like she's in Cirque du Soleil. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
she's jacked.
And she's also, like, super tiny and can, like, bend completely backwards, like, and basically make her body flat against each other. And I believe she's Russian. And like, anytime I took my first 2 lessons with her, you know, masks, socially distanced, alcohol, wipes, the whole thing. And every time I would be like, oh God, wait, I can't get this. She'd be like, I know, honey. Like, super condescending. I loved her, but it was, like, really fucking funny. Like, oh, I know, honey. It's hard. I was like, but Yumiko is, like, so dope because she's super into the competitive.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Everyone should go watch the championship. Sometimes I just, like, watch the person who's, like, the best pole dancer in the world, in, like, America, the world, or whatever. And it's like, I should try to do something with my core. It's so cool. It's amazing.
I think you would really love it. Well, now they're going to be. Anyway, we were supposed to film it tomorrow. We were supposed to film my pole thing. Basically, thank you, Eric. Basically, the snow day really screwed everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then they were like, we can't have the pole brought to the stage with the teacher tomorrow. We were supposed to film it tomorrow. Now that got pushed to Wednesday. I need to, like, I couldn't do it today, like, run my routine today. So I need to do it tomorrow at some point. And so because of this snowstorm blizzard that I've been in, which has been really beautiful, been really enjoying the day today. I've had, like, a really weird day because I found out a friend of mine oh no, I'm gonna cry. I found out a friend of mine passed away this morning.
Oh no.
And then it was like I got the text right as we were, like, literally all suited up to go as a family to, like, go out into the snow. And so it was just sort of, like, surreal. I knew that she had been, I knew that it was, I had known for a couple months that it was, like, imminent, but but still.
Yeah.
And so then I went out and the kids were so happy in the snow and like, it's just been a wild
Yeah.
time. And so then anyway, back to the pole dancing, and then we can go whatever, because this is what I'm doing my best at. So I was just like, I need that pole. I need that pole tomorrow all day on the stage so that anytime I have a break, I can like run down, strap on those 8-inch heels and do it. And then I got word that like, because of the snow day and the budget and it's like just too expensive or whatever. And I was like, fuck it, dudes. I'll just pay for it. Like, I don't care. Me getting better on the pole is more important to me now than money.
Yeah.
And Eric was like, that's insane. You can't do that. And I was like, Eric, what's insane is that if I don't do that at 11 p.m. because we have a later call because of the snowstorm, what's insane is that if I don't do that at 11 p.m., I will go to Foxy Fitness for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, either way, it's insane.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. So anyway, I guess they worked it out.
Good. I mean,
That's
also
great.
it's going to be on camera, and like if I was going to like the precedent has been set. Like Hustlers set the precedent.
That's right.
Jennifer Lopez did it. You can't just be getting on no pole all willy nilly in 2021.
That's right. But also, like, Shantira, I'm fully doing like an upside down flip.
It's
thing.
hard.
Like, I'm like really fucking
Pole dancing's really
doing
hard.
it. And I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like proud of my commitment to my athleticism. And like, even though this is a thing that, you know, in previous versions of my life and career, like for instance, if this had been written on, say, Dawson's Creek,
Mhm.
I would have been like showing up on the day and I would have been like, so who's going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know what I mean? And I just like, if I'm going to act at all or be a part of anything at all at this point, I just want it to be the best and the most fun. And I don't know. I just feel like I'm really proud of myself. I'm proud of my commitment to the pole.
Yeah.
You should be.
And now I kind of want to be a competitive pole dancer.
You should
KiwiCo
be.
thinks I really have it in me.
I mean,
You probably
here's
do.
the thing. I'll watch it.
Well, she was also saying, which I think is so cool, that like, you know, as opposed to so many other sports and competitive things, pole dancing is one of those things where like you can get into it at any age.
Yeah.
There's no like, she has a student that she's been training for 2 years, just 2 years. And she just placed first in a competition,
Whoa.
like a nationwide competition. And she's 56.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I
So,
want to be good at
yeah.
pole dancing, but I know that I'm not going to do anything to make that happen for myself.
Well, I think the first step would be that you take a class.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now, though.
Okay.
I know.
I mean, not right
but
now.
I'm going to live
COVID.
vicariously through you and then like keep doing Peloton like 3 times a week.
I think that's awesome.
Maybe you can
Caissie-
develop like a Peloton routine that's sexy.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's going to be a long time for this looks sexy on the Peloton. I always look like I'm dying. I'm always like... Also, one of my legs is obviously stronger than the other. So, like, when I pedal, like, I'm like, I think that it'll be like, if you ride spin or Peloton or whatever, like, one of them is like creating more power than the other side. So, like, I got to get this left leg strong. We got to figure something out.
It's always the left leg.
Yeah, my left leg is just not strong. It's not that.
You can work up and spin
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Like
It's only
when
been
I
like
was at
2
my-
weeks, so.
in my heyday of spinning, I was, you know, but now at this point, I don't think I'm probably back with you in the beginner class. Like that's the thing. Like spin, it's all so specific, right?
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm looking for a hair tie.
Yeah, it's hard.
I know I make too much noise. Caissie, what are you doing your best at this week?
What am I doing my best at this week? I don't know. I mean, I just realized today would have been my dad's birthday. So, which was kind of weird. I didn't mark that occasion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just surprised me. So I've just been sort of like thinking about my dad.
Happy birthday to him.
Do you find, because I have lots of friends that have passed,
Yeah.
and I do find celebrating their birthdays or thinking about them on their birthdays always is like a little bit gentler to your person than celebrating like the day they passed away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he died suddenly. And like, to be honest, I probably couldn't, well, I guess it was on Valentine's Day. I was going to say I couldn't probably even remember like the exact day because, which I was just telling one of our mutual friends, he would totally understand because he wasn't very literal about dates. He wasn't very good at keeping dates himself. Like when he died, I wrote that, like, I remember, I think when I turned 18, he called me and was like, happy sweet 16. And it was like a couple days late. And I was like, one, it's not today, but also I'm 18, but thank you. So I think he wouldn't mind so much. But yeah, it's nice to sort of think about him. And I guess, like, I was thinking about, I'm kind of glad he's not living through this like weird time because I don't know how he would have managed that. I mean, is that a weird thing to say?
No.
That you're just glad someone doesn't have to put up with the shit?
My granny passed away in 2016 before Trump was elected. So she got to die with Obama as the president. And I am so happy because I think that she wasn't doing super great in those last couple years. But
Yeah.
like, I don't think she could have made 4 more years. So I'm happy she got out before this fucking shit. So like, I've literally thought that and been like, if she was gonna go, like, I'm not mad at it.
Wait,
Yeah.
same. I think about that with my grandfather too, because he was like a liberal dude from Chicago, like a union guy.
Yeah.
And I think about how crazy Trump would have made him.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember going to his apartment in the like, you know, assisted living place that he lived in at the end of his life. And like, he would always have like clippings up of what was happening like in politics and like different things that were going on. And he like kept track of all that stuff. And I feel like he would have lost his
Yeah, for sure.
I don't even know what my dad's politics were, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I know what I think his character was, like what I think his character as a person was, but I don't know what his politics were. I do know that I think his wife is like his what do you call
Widow?
it when your husband dies? His
Widow?
widow.
Yeah.
His widow, I think she's like a conservative voter, but I don't know if she was like a Trump supporter. We're not super close. But I just think like my dad just had such a hard time. He had a hard time like getting a job, keeping a job, those kind of things. Like he just had like a very wandery spirit. That's a nice way to say about him. So I just think like having to live through something like this and like where it's hard for anyone to like sort of figure out what their path is. I feel like this would have knocked him for a loop, you know?
He probably wouldn't have worn a mask, Caissie.
I don't know. It's funny. Like my dad was like a really smart, really super creative guy. He was really funny. He was kind in a way. Like he was kind.
I mean, he remembered your birthday and then called you. Because there are those people who forget and then they're like, fuck, oh well. For him to be like, I remember. It don't matter what day. So like, we're all just doing our best.
Born.
We're doing our best.
Yeah, exactly. He was like the epitome of like doing his best, and it wasn't always easy. We didn't have an easy relationship.
Yeah,
but he was an interesting and nice guy. Just maybe not like the traditional dad that everybody.
Yeah, I always say
most
like,
people have.
A lot of people have really parents who are really nice people, but not always. They don't always have the parent part down, but they're really good people.
Yeah,
and I feel like
well, listen, parenting is nearly goddamn impossible.
Yeah,
you know,
just your parents are people. We've talked about that before.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
and like that's what's so tricky, and like And there are, depending on your generation and like what, there are lots of different messages that sort of permeate culturally that inform how everyone parents, like collectively, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be perfectly frank, he hardly parented me. like he helped create me, but he wasn't. My mom did the lion's share of the parenting work when they were married and after they were not married. But he was a good person. He was entertaining. He was super creative, and and so it's always kind of interesting to like look at my kids. And I was like looking at Lincoln, and he was eating toast with his dinner last night. And I was like, that's just like your grandfather would eat like a big stack of toast with his dinner. And you like apples just like him. And you like potato chips just like him, which is a weird thing to be like. I mean, who doesn't like potato chips? But, it is kind of like weird and old fashioned for a kid to walk around chewing on an apple, I feel like. But that, just little things remind me of him. So that's like what I'm doing my best at today. Just being like appreciating my dad for who he was.
That's really sweet.
That's awesome.
Somebody, and I think it was you, Caissie. Why am I going to cry this whole day? But I remember you once gave me the best parenting advice. If it wasn't you, let's just pretend that it was.
Okay.
Which was just that, like, when you're struggling with a kid, you have to remember to, like, just love them for them,
yes.
for who they are.
Yes.
As opposed to like who you wish they could maybe be, even in like a sort of, you don't even know that you're wishing that they could be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like you are,
yeah,
kind of, because you're behaving toward them in such a way that like is that because you want them to be not who they are, you want them to be different, right?
Right.
And I think that like that really changed me as a parent a few years ago when you told me that, and it really, really helped me tremendously with Bird.
That means a lot to me. I think that's one thing I can say for my dad is like, I mean, parents out there, and Shantira, this is one of the reasons I appreciate so much when you talk about your parents and how they raised you, is that I think for the most part, parents have like expectations, like involuntary expectations of what your kid is going to be like. Mm-hmm. Like you already have their whole life. I had their whole life imagined. Like this is what they're going to be like, and this is what they're going to like, and even like what they're going to look like. And none of it is true. They just come out and they're who they are, I
mean, Birdie began by defying my expectations.
Right.
I always in my head dreamed that I would give birth to like a fuzzy little blonde like baby that looked just like me.
Right.
Yeah. And then Bird comes out and is like covered in thick black hair, like from their head to their toes. Like Birdie had so much hair that I was concerned about their hairline in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because they lose it. Like Birdie didn't have the hairline that they have now. Like it was like their hair like went down
in the
like
middle of the forehead.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, this is how I'm gonna have to. Well, I love it. I guess I'm gonna just have to love this. I'm gonna have to love it. That hair.
But yeah, right from the jump, they defy your expectations. And so the sooner that you can just like give up like that vision of what you had of like what they're gonna be, I feel like the better. Just to be like, well, let me okay, you've spoken, child, in whatever way, whatever age you are, about who you want to be. So let me stop trying to like get you to do all this other stuff that is really beside the point and help you be like the best kid that you want to be. And that's one thing I can say for my dad, is that he always just thought that I was really cool. He like was like, it's so cool that you're funny. It's so cool that, that you like to paint or whatever. He would never was like, he didn't give a shit about my grades or,
That's a dream right there.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing to remember too when we all think about our parents, like to love them as they were and not as we wished
Yes.
they had been.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Outside of like abuse, guys, listen, if you have abusive fucking parents, I'm serious.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
no.
Like only you know, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if you suffered trauma and abuse in your home,
You don't have to.
my
love
heart breaks for you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fucking forgive them or do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
But that being said, most of us who just had like parents that were flawed, because all parents are kind of flawed, if your parents were just like within reason flawed, you gotta like learn.
One of my coworkers said something this week that was like really cool. She was like, my kid was. She was like, her kid was like 13 or something and was upset with her. And she was like, I've never raised a daughter before. So like, could you give me like a break? She was like, I'm really trying and we're both doing our best. But like, you have to remember, you're not my 6th kid. You're not my 4th daughter. I have never, ever raised a 13-year-old girl before. So we're just going to have to figure this out. And I was like, damn, that is like such a way to like, you're a human, but like, yeah, you might have 2 kids, but like, I've never raised you before. So,
well, that's the thing
Right.
is they're all, even if you had 6 kids,
yeah, they're different.
Number 5 is different to number 2.
Yeah.
I was the only kid, and that's why I do like always want to make it a point to say that like my dad was gregarious. He was a talented musician. He had beautiful handwriting. He was really creative and funny and made me laugh. It just like, he just probably wasn't cut out to be a dad, and that's okay. You know, he was super young when I was born. We lived apart for way more years. Like my dad was stationed in Thailand when I was an infant. So like, I remember like meeting him, like going to pick him up when he finally came back stateside, and like he brought me like a little stuffed dog and a bag of peanuts or something, and I remember being like afraid of him because I never met him in person before. But yeah, we were only together for like 7 years, so but he's a good guy.
It's okay to cry, Caissie.
No,
It is.
I know.
I wish you'd had more time with your dad.
Me too. But also, it just, you just never know. And I've been thinking a lot of so many people are like going through that right now, just losing their parents very suddenly. And my heart goes out because it's really, even if you had like a tough relationship with your parent, to just be like, oh, fuck, they're not here.
Yeah.
I was thinking today about my friend who passed away, and she has 2 kids who are really little. Not really little. Not really little. I guess what's really little? Babies. I guess. Kids. But she has 2 kids. And I was just thinking about them and about my own kids. And I was thinking about this thing that Michelle often has said to me. Life is either too short or too long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're either just like, or you're like, oh God.
When I worked in the nursing home, this woman, Jessica, was like 100 and I want to say she was like 106 years old.
That's too
old. She was
old.
like she was a single lady who had lived an amazing life. She traveled a lot, and she had money, and so she traveled a lot and had adventures, but she never settled down. She never got married. She never had children. And I would go and like sit on her bed. She would like make lace in she couldn't see anymore, but she would like make lace by feel. And
God.
yeah, amazing. And I would bring her like little spearmint leaves. She loved like that old lady candy, like those gummy spearmint leaf candies.
I love those.
But
though I genuinely love
yes,
them.
yes. So I'd bring her those, and she would make lace and just chit chat with me. And she did say one time, I spent so much of my life being afraid that I would die too soon, and now I'm afraid that I will never die. And then I was like, Jessica, are you asking me to kill you?
Oh my God, Caissie.
And she was like, no, I would never do that to you. But for real, it's been a while.
What would you have done if she said yes?
I would have probably just hoped that she forgot about it. I would have pretended I had something else to do.
I don't think I'd be able to do it.
No.
No, I couldn't do it. I do know that I don't want to live to be 106.
I do.
I don't. Here's the thing. I'm already 106, baby. I done lived a million lives. I'm tired as hell. Give me like a hot 85 and I'm going to piece up out this bitch. That's it.
No, 85's too young, Shantira. We need you longer.
Okay, maybe 92. 106, absolutely the fuck not. I'm putting it out in the universe right now. I don't want to live 106 years.
Okay, I do. I'm putting it into the universe. I do.
All right, you can have
my
it. You
gosh.
can have it, yeah.
No, I think I will.
Probably.
I really think I will.
Just
Keep
out of
Yeah, I think I will.
Keep
Yeah.
that pole dancing up.
Honestly, guys, it is a sight to behold.
And we shall see it. I can't wait to see it.
The bruises on my fucking legs
Yeah.
are not to be messed with. I don't even know. I don't know what to say about the bruises. They're so gross. It's amazing. Oh, Gina Lynatti, what are you doing? She's like loved the snow today.
Aw.
Cricket and I made a little thing in the back. It was like a legit blizzard.
Yeah, it's
here.
really
a
snowy.
blizzard.
You're like the third person. Well, I like had a bunch of Zooms today, and like 2 people showed me the snow. Like New Yorkers like
God.
don't give a shit about anything, but today 2 people were like, "Look at this," and I was like, "Wow."
It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
No, it was insane. We went out into those streets just because I like wanted to see
Yeah,
it. I've
yeah.
never,
Yeah.
I've never been in. Sorry, now I'm eating a cookie, guys.
Just don't read the reviews.
Are people mad about me eating?
I mean, occasionally people mention it.
Well, you know what? You guys try to fucking do all the shit I do in a day and manage to get in fucking eating as well. I've had it. I'm doing my fucking best. And sometimes my best is that I got to eat a goddamn cookie while I'm recording this podcast. Because by the time it's over, it'll be too late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll
I
have
mean-
GERD.
You're trying
That's
to
right.
live till you're 106.
Casey, I'm not going to read the things people say that are mean.
I know. That's why I
Why
said
would I do
don't-
that?
Don't read it. People, they're mostly nice. They're like 99.9% nice.
I've never
would
read
you read
I've
that?
never read not one. I will never read one. I also have been like not on Twitter. I like got off it. Like I didn't delete it. I deleted it from my phone because like it was just making me mad all the time. So I was just like, bye. So I know that I'm not going to. I cannot read any reviews because at least on Twitter, like if I write something and somebody's like mean to me, I'll be like, well, I invited this because I did say some rude shit. But like on a podcast, it's just like I'm just existing. I don't want nobody commenting. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, guys, for better or for worse, we're basically just doing this for ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
It's true.
let's get into some other people doing their best. Well, first of all, it's Black History Month.
Pew, 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 pew.
Gotta get that John Lewis voting rights
Yes.
act passed.
Get it,
That's how
get it.
that's what we're doing this
Yes,
month.
please.
That's what we're doing this month.
And then
Bye, Black.
bye. And then I also like to say, just send your black friends $20 reparations. Give it to them. just be like, it's hard. I know you're having a hard time. Here is $20, and they'll be like, thank you, white lady.
I think sending $20 to a friend is nice. I think sending flowers is lovely.
yeah.
I think people enjoy that. I'm gonna post on my Instagram. Maybe I'll just put it in my permanent link. I think I will. Because Valentine's Day is coming up. All the black. It's not. I'm sure there are others, but it's a very, very comprehensive list of all the black owned florists around the country.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
So I was gonna I'll put it in my in my profile thing. But you know I'm a real flower
You're
bitch.
a real flower
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah.
So but it was so funny because Emily Beebe found the list and sent it to me, and I was like, these are all the people I ordered flowers from already.
I love it.
And she was like, I figured. Anyway, yeah, let's get the Voting Rights Advancement Act passed.
Please, God.
I believe Harriet Tubman's going to get on that 20.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't care about that as much.
I know you don't.
Well, I mean, like, I should say, like, if I got to see a face on a 20, like, Andrew Jackson is not my first choice. So shout out to Harriet Tubman. But then also, like, if I don't have any money, it doesn't matter who's on it. So give it to us. Again, I say, where's my fucking money, government? As soon as you put her face on it, I want you to send it out to the people so they can see it. So, like, I'm like, okay. I think the government also has been doing like a bunch of symbolic shit. Like when everybody like knelt down in kente cloth, I was like, but where's my fucking money? So that's like where I'm at all the time. I was like, I would prefer zero symbolism and actual money forever. But I'll take this for now.
I have a question, genuinely.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the Housing Rights Act, super. I mean, there's so much fucked history that's been perpetrated on specifically Black Americans in this country, right? So in a like an ideal scenario, what does reparations look like to you from the government? Is it land? Is it home ownership?
It's money, it's therapy. And that's the start, because I think one of the things too about people talking about reparations is that it's like, well, we didn't get any money. It's like, okay, like I think one of the things that's been really interesting about it is like we don't have any generational wealth. And that is what it is. It's like after slavery, first of all, also fuck Abraham Lincoln. Like, let's get the history right, okay? He was trying to keep the Union together, and more white people were for abolishing slavery than were for not abolishing slavery. The Union was very powerful, and he chose the side of power. If the powerful side was the Confederacy, we'd have a very different America. And also, he's quoted talking about how, like, between white people and Black people, if he had to choose who he thought was superior, it was white people, and that's the way it should be. So fuck Abraham Lincoln too. He can go fucking fuck him, right? So,
well, he did get shot by the guy.
I mean,
he's gone.
That ain't got nothing to do with me, but fuck him for anything else. But then, like, but reparations, it's about what you can do in this country, right? And a lot of what's going to happen is like a lot of white people are going to be like, well, I don't have anything. Number one, I'm going to say this. You not having anything is white people's fault. It's the government's fault. And also your ability to get something is higher than our ability to get something. So even like schools, right? They did redlining or whatever. And the GI Bills, right? The soldiers came home. My grandfather went to World War II and he didn't get shit, right? So like you come home and then they gave all those white men.
The Black soldiers were not included in the GI Bill.
Yeah. And
so they did not get, I'm just clarifying for people listening. So they did not get like free schooling.
Yep, no free school.
Free university.
And no free house. So like, or what when we say free house, it's like the bank was told that they can approve loans for any soldiers that came back or anybody, because fucking anybody who wanted to get a house, they'd approve loans for, as long as the houses weren't in these red areas. That's why it's called redlining. You want to know where all the red areas were? All Black neighborhoods. So you fast forward till now, all those neighborhoods still don't have what they need. And then we base the money that goes to schools off of how much houses are worth and who got loans for nice houses. So it's all like, this is all just because of what happened after Reconstruction. Like after slavery was over, like they should have gave us money, but they gave Abraham Lincoln gave former slave owners money to replace the money of their slaves. So like it's all rooted. So when I say I want reparations, I want therapy, because every Black person in this country is traumatized, and I want cold hard cash, money in the fucking bank.
It's not even that that Black people were prevented from accruing generational wealth. It's like even when Black people made a start to, like, against all odds, white people destroyed
Their houses.
those chances.
Yeah, they destroyed Tulsa. Like, look up Tulsa. They
like
fucking
Black
destroyed
Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
on
Yeah,
Tul-
yeah.
in
and
Tulsa.
And it was like, okay, well, or even now, if you, I saw this online. This woman, her condo was like paid for, and she got it appraised, and it was like $250,000 or something. She was like, why is this so less? So she took off that she was black, and then the appraisal for her condo went up like almost like $100,000. And it's like, oh, like even when you are successful, the white supremacy is deeply rooted in this country, and like
it's deeply rooted.
Everything. I just saw a thing too. TikTok is very informative. This guy was like, pollution. White neighborhoods are less polluted because when they started letting people buy houses, the government would plant trees in white neighborhoods, and they wouldn't plant trees in the neighborhoods of black and brown people. So literally their air is better. White people's air is better because the government. So give everybody money. And also, like I said, give everybody money. I think that's the thing too. People are like, oh, you want to give black people? Give everybody money. Give it to everybody, because we all need it. Everybody needs it. And I would love some reparations. I don't think we're ever going to get any, but I do think that I believe in a universal basic income. That's what I believe in. And I think that like it's not, I like hate to be defeatist, but it feels like it's too late to just be like, I'm going to give all these black people stuff. The white people ain't going to be having it. I do believe in a universal basic income where everybody gets enough money to live, because I think about your dad, Caissie, like we're all not supposed to be working. He was supposed to have beautiful handwriting, and he was supposed to be a musician, and he was supposed to do what he wants, and he was supposed to call you 3 days after his birthday. But like everybody is not supposed to be working all the time. We are all not built for that. And I think that as soon as we learn that, if you don't want to work, that's not what humans are for. Humans are to live a life. And like we have made people work, they don't get to live. And I think everybody should get $2,000. If you don't ever want to fucking work again, that's your business. So
I mean, I have to say, I feel like I know what you're saying so deeply, which is that like what's being lost is invaluable in our society by people being forced to have a grind unless they're lucky enough to, like, let's face it, probably be white and like have generational wealth so that they can like luxuriate in like a liberal arts fucking university and figure out what they want to do or what their passions are. You know, most people have to like start working right away, and then you're just in this fucking endless cycle of trying to make ends meet because there's no assistance, there's no help. And so for people to be able to find and follow things that would add not just like beauty into the world, but ideas and could lead to bigger things, it's impossible when you're starting from so like down below like the center.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in terms of poverty.
Yeah.
I mean, even just like in talking with some of the work that I've done with the Center for Reproductive Rights, and in talking to this gentleman from Alabama about, you know, how difficult they've made it to get abortions in there, and what the women go through, and what the children who are living in just such abject poverty are experiencing in our country, which is like basically they're starving.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're not going to be able to meet certain
because they're hungry.
Milestones. And because they're literally starving. There are starving children. And it's like, that is fucking unacceptable. And these motherfuckers, sorry to bring it back to like abortion, but like, but these fucking motherfuckers calling themselves pro-life is the biggest bunch of bullshit that I've ever heard. Because if you're pro-life, then give all of the money.
Give people life.
Yeah. Give people life.
Yeah.
Let them have life.
Because when the baby's born, they're like, well, why did you have that baby? And it's like, you made her have that baby.
Right.
One of the things, oh my gosh, wait, what was it? Because I'm losing track because I'm mad at everybody except for us. Oh, like the kids not having any food, it's so frustrating because we have enough. That's the thing that really kills me is that like, I'm like, we are the wealthiest country.
More than enough.
We have enough, but we just like
We have too much.
We do. We have too much. Yeah. And it's very frustrating to watch. But I know too. I can't remember the name of the book, but I think it's Freakonomics. Legit. Have you guys read Freakonomics?
Yeah.
I think it's Freakonomics, and it was like when abortion like is legal. Like it was like the time period during like the 80s and 90s where like people could get abortions like regularly, what they needed, that like the poverty and the crime rate for like 20 years later went down because it was directly correlated to those mothers not having children that they couldn't take care of. And it
right.
and when people because like the prison system is all rooted in white supremacy, obviously, but it's like people don't steal food because they're thieves. People steal food because of poverty. People don't rob gas stations and like take that money. People want to work. So when they gave people like the opportunity to not have children that they literally could not feed, the crime rate went down because most people who were committing those crimes were committing them for survival. And it was like so interesting to be like, oh yeah, like they make sure these people are born, but they like don't help them survive. So we're pro-choice in this house, right?
Also what's so frustrating is like that I mean, just like on a basic level, have you never been fucking hungry before at your day at work and you can't do something because you're so hungry? Like Busy has to eat in the podcast because she
Yeah, guys.
like
That's why I'm eating in the podcast.
every single lawmaker, I guarantee, is like having, someone that their intern go out and get them lunch because they're hangry and they need to focus on their work. Have you never been too cold to focus? Have you never been too tired to focus on the work in front of you? Like that's what we're condemning these kids to face every day in school and then get treated like shit for it. And it's just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it either. The humanity.
And I'm such a, I've done a lot of work with No Kid Hungry. Caissie, you've helped. We've done work with No Kid Hungry. Like I'm truly in awe of the work that they're trying to do, and Jose Andreas with World Central Kitchen, which is also incredible, and started out as like emergency relief, and now is just like, oh yeah, shit, everybody needs fucking food. Okay, well, here we are, like we're gonna do this,
Right.
Like if the government's not gonna fucking do it. Which brings us to the Nobel Peace Prize. Who was nominated this? Let's see, who's been nominated now. Somebody explain to me how the fuck Jared Kushner got nominated.
Well,
because it's like anyone can nominate.
Anyone can nominate you, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's not as impressive because like that's how like some fucking.
Like you guys could have just nominated me for it?
I knew you were going to ask that and I don't know.
Well, it's like
I don't know if that's
countries,
exactly true.
But that's how like Trump got nominated. Like some shitty weird dude from some country was like she should win. So like it is cool to be nominated, but like some people do it for like shits and giggles.
This says on the Nobel Prize, nobelprize.org, a nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize may be submitted by any person who meets the nomination criteria. A letter of invitation to submit is not required. The names of the nominees and other information about the nominations cannot be revealed until 50 years later.
50 years, but how do we know people that have been nominated?
Well, they don't reveal who nominated you until 50 years later. It's a scam.
It's a scam.
I just want
Ivanka Trump nominated Jared Kushner.
Yeah, probably.
She's never done fucking anything. So
I want
someone
Stacey
else.
Abrams to win because I want her to get the cash prize.
Oh, how much is the cash prize?
Okay.
How much is the prize?
I don't know.
The Nobel Peace Prize in 2020, the cash award was $1,145,000.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, let's give Stacey Abrams that money.
Yeah, give her that money.
Also, Black Lives Matter is nominated as well.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like
and
the
Greta
movement.
Thunberg.
Yeah.
The movement. And
Yeah.
Greta Thunberg. I feel like Greta is like, how old is that girl? I feel like she's been nominated.
She's like 17 now, I think.
Like 3 times
Yeah.
already or something. Is that true? Or do I just feel like that?
I don't know.
I feel like she's been nominated before, but I'm not sure.
Not sure. But she's great.
I'm not
But
sure.
yeah, I really want the Black Lives Matter movement to win, or Stacey Abrams for her
Yep.
efforts
Yeah.
for voting rights. I think that would be so great, and I know that they'd put the money to good use.
Yeah.
I agree.
I want something nice to happen.
Yeah, that would be something
That's
nice.
like
That would
where
be
I'm at
good.
now.
That would be something nice.
I've always been like very into specificity, but like 2020, I'm just like, I just want something nice.
Right?
Just one nice thing.
I do that, Shantira, sometimes, like when I'm just like right before I fall asleep, I'm like, just let one good thing happen tomorrow. And it usually works.
Yeah.
It usually works. Like,
It's like-
you know, or you like talk yourself into that something that happened is the one good thing.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't just be praying for no specifics no more. It's too wild. I'm just gonna be like, one nice thing, amen. Good night, help us.
I also sometimes, when I'm like trying to write something right before I fall asleep, I'm like, please let me have a good idea tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's really good.
That's a good idea to do that.
And it usually,
I like that.
It usually works.
I like that too because
That's kind of amazing.
I like. I'm not afraid to just like go to bed with work undone and get up early in the morning and do it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like some people, if it's too late, it's just over. It's just like this
It's
not gonna
diminishing
be good.
returns.
It's like
yeah.
it's not gonna work. I got to get up in the morning and do it right.
Guys, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you guys watch Saturday Night Live?
Sometimes
I didn't watch it, but I know that people are dragging them because of a same-sex kiss. Is that?
Oh, are they?
yeah.
Because all I saw the next day on Twitter was like, blah, so fucking amazing, blah, so funny. And I was like so pissed about it. And then I was like, I got to watch it just to know like contextually and like what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Before I get super moated about something I probably should have all the information.
Right.
Sometimes I don't need all the information, but in this case I was like, maybe I'm missing something and it really is fucking genius and necessary. And then I was just like, watched it. Mark and I watched it and I was like, this is fucking gay panic bullshit, fucking 1980s crap. And like, why the fuck are these motherfuckers doing this shit? And I'm so over it and fucking stop.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
It's really tiring. I feel like
I'm exhausted by it.
I feel like gay panic and fat humor are the two like joke topics or accepted.
if you're at home and you watch that SNL with John Krasinski and then he and Pete Davidson kissed and you're like, oh my God, I want you to stop right now and think about why.
Why is that funny?
Why is that funny to you? And like, then I want you to do some fucking soul searching. And then I want you to get back to me.
Yeah.
Because I am fucking done. And I'm done with like fucking, like, I like John Krasinski. And I feel like he's a dude that, generally speaking, has been like done some pretty okay stuff for just a fucking white guy. Like, wasn't he doing something on his new movie where he was like,
let's just all be real. He was on The Office, and that's white people crack. So there we go. That's the end of it. He's Jim from The Office, and everybody's
I'm
horny
saying,
for that.
right. No. I get that. I'm saying like as a human in life, he seems like he's trying to do his best in terms of like being a good person, like aware and woke-ish or whatever. I thought he did something
like
on
an equality initiative on
I thought he did.
But I thought that too, but then I'm also like, it wasn't Ryan Reynolds, because I do confuse them, I hate to say.
You do?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Wait,
Because
you might be right.
I know Ryan Reynolds is like a big movie star now, but I always just think of Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place. And
Yeah.
so he's like a corollary to John Krasinski for me.
Yeah, I think I don't know if John Krasinski did that, but I will say if he was, I don't know, I feel like we would know about it. I mean, I love when people move in silence, but Quiet Place, shout out. I've never seen it.
Yes.
But the whole thing is that, like, I also like people to fully understand what the demographic of SNL is. Like, people think that it's for you. It's not. Lorne Michaels is making a show for 13 to 24-year-old white boys.
White boys.
White boys, not men, baby. White boys. And that's why if you watch a sketch at the end and they don't know how to end it, they yell at a woman. That is how they end sketches when they don't know what to do.
Here's what
Demographic.
I'm saying, Shantira.
Yeah.
John Krasinski has the power in that situation.
Absolutely.
And so you walk into that situation and then they're like, we have this really funny thing that like people keep asking you about Pam, and then like it ends with you and Pete Davidson like making out on stage. And you're like, guys, it feels like gay panic to me. And while I would love to kiss Pete, he seems lovely. That feels like it's playing on a thing that I don't really want to be a part of. Right?
You are giving a lot of benefit to the doubt to this white man that we do not know.
No, for sure. I mean, I've met him and I've soul cycled with his wife, but like but I do feel like I want, this is okay. But this is the thing that I want to know. What happens in that fucking moment when that guy knows? I'm telling you, that guy fucking knows. I know that guy knows. I know he knows it's bullshit. And like in that moment, what happens to him to not speak up in that room and be like, guys, actually, let's like let's do a different angle. Let's not play to the fucking gay panic.
I'll say two things.
What happens?
I'll say two things about that. I don't think he thought anything was wrong. I do not give him any benefit of the doubt. I think that he thought it was funny. Number two, the people who pitched it to him. John Krasinski did not come to SNL with sketches ready to go. Okay?
Right.
There were people who were hired and they pitch. This is how SNL works. Fucking Hollywood break. The stars, they have full control, right? But the people who write the sketches, write them. They get approved by fucking Lorne Michaels, who's out of touch as a motherfucker. And then you pitch it to John Krasinski. So like, okay, great. He's like, that sounds funny. I think people are intimidated by that. Intimidated by a room full of comedians if they give it to him. And he's like, okay, well, if a room full of comedians says this works, he's going to do it. Even if he thought it was wrong, you still don't walk into a room at SNL. And if I know people probably do, but walking into a room at SNL and thinking you're funnier than an entire room of people, unless you're fucking Eddie Murphy, the odds are not in your favor. So I want to say that. But let's not forget, like, who runs that fucking room, okay? It's Michael Che, and then what's his face married to the girl from Marvel?
Jost.
A
real,
Jost, right? So like they have a lot of pull. The people who are in charge of that show are a lot of straight, white, misogyny, like in that building, in that room, in that for who they make the show for. So like I'm not just gonna blame John because obviously he is the last person, he has the final say, but everything you see on TV, it gets read by 20 white men before you get on your TV, and all of them said it was okay. So that's on SNL.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, when trying to unravel all of this shit, it's like when I was on set and an actor loudly said in front of a bunch of other people that he jacked off thinking about me. Ooh. What prevented people who were friends with me, who like respect me by all accounts, to just sort of like turn and walk away? And what will it take for dudes to be, especially fucking white men, but like for them to just be able to say to other white dudes, or to, you know, this isn't actually that fucking sucks. That's shitty and we can't do that anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm interested in. At this point, I won't fucking won't hold my tongue.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I would immediately be like, hey, actually guys, that's fucked and we're not doing that.
But look at the last 4 years with Trump as president. He's horrible. He deserved to be ridiculed from sun up to sundown every day. But what were the main 2 ways in which he was ridiculed? People making jokes about him having
About
sex
his
with
body.
Vladimir Putin and that he
Right.
was a fat fuck.
You're right. That's right.
You know what I mean? And those are like the last 2 things that anyone could knock him with. Because, by the way, is he a bigger guy? Yes, he's a bigger guy. But again, like, does that have to do with anything that he was doing every day? And he wasn't having sex with Vladimir Putin. You were using it as an insult, a gay panic insult. So I think what it's going to take is people not holding their tongues. But unfortunately, when you get a group of a certain people together and like, yeah, after the past 4 years, if you've been on Twitter in the past 4 years, Shantira talking about like how enraging it can be. Like, if you didn't have your head screwed on right, I could see how you would be like, oh, I guess this is like what everyone thinks is funny right now. Like this is the thing, and it's not the thing.
I hate it.
Andy Cohen, when I worked for Andy Cohen, he was often invited to do like comedy bits on shows. And so many times he would come back and be like, they asked me like basically to gay it up. And he would be like, I am the gayest person. Like, you're telling me to like put on some like affectation so that I'm like gay enough to meet the standards of your joke. Like, A, no, but B, also, what the fuck? Like, I'm a well-known gay man. That's like the main thing people know about me. I am what gayness is, you know? It's weird.
Right. But like they want him to be an idea of a caricature.
Yeah, a caricature. Right? Yeah.
A caricature.
Of like what they picture like is the punchline of being gay.
All right. Well, you know what?
It's gross.
I'm just going to say it. I like John Krasinski and his wife, but I think that he didn't do his best. And I think he could do better in the future. Yeah. And I want him to. I want all the fucking white dudes on SNL to do better.
Yes. I have no feelings about him. I only love Angela Bassett.
Come on. All the other news, I just feel like is like everything's sad.
It's really been a rough day.
Yeah, we're in that age of Aquarius now, baby, and things are wild.
Yeah. Listen, we are all, as long as like you continue to just be doing your best, right? And your best is not hurting others, not being a racist fuck. I mean, I don't know.
Speak up.
Speak up. Oh, well, yeah, for sure that.
I mean, you know that my hobby is just going on to Instagram, like Instagram ads of clothing and being like, these clothes are really cute. It's too bad they're not size inclusive. Like, I know that that's like a small thing, but it's like no one will.
It's actually not. I think it's really important. Oh, wait, Blake Lively is doing her best this week, who's not married to John Krasinski. But Blake spoke up about size inclusive, that more brands need to be size inclusive. And we applaud.
Yeah, for sure.
A lady like Blake, who's people think is very fashionable. And I mean, she is, but
yeah, that's important to me. And it's like an issue that's particular to me. Like, I want to wear the same cute clothes that my friends wear. So make clothes for me. You're leaving money on the table. Yeah. But also, by the same token, when something's racist or homophobic, say like, this is disappointing. You just have to.
Yeah. I think one of the things too is that they don't like, just to like kind of go back to what you were saying, Busy, is that they don't have any skin in the game. You know what I mean? Like, women, marginalized people are speaking up because we don't want that to happen to other people. But like those men, nothing is actually happening to them. They are a witness to something bad happening, and they're like, well, I don't want to say anything, because we also as a country, like as a society, are taught to take care of men's feelings because they're dangerous. So even if you are like a man, a straight white man, Krasinski is like tall and was Jim on The Office. And it's like, do you want Jim from The Office being mean to you? Do you want him mad at you? Like, I think that we really have to tackle the fact that people are always talking about how women are sensitive. We protect men's feelings all day, because when they get mad, the only feeling they're allowed to fucking feel, they kill us. So I think that there is something to be said about, I'm sure, like, I've had this experience working on shows before where, like, I'm sure that there's some sweet, gentle, kind white man working at SNL right now who went up to somebody and was like, hey, I don't think that's a good joke. And they told him to fuck off. And he probably got fired because that's how they roll at SNL. So, like, I'm sorry if that's your dream job or some shit, but that is not a fun job. And I think that that's the thing, is that, like, I think that there's always people who are willing to speak up, but that show's been a certain way and done certain things for the last 40 years. Who has the last say is Lorne Michaels. So
right.
I know that they hired 22, 23-year-old. You don't think somebody was Gen Z and didn't like that joke? Everything you see on television, Lorne Michaels approves, even if you
Gay
hate
people
it.
work there.
Yes, fucking approve. So, like, let's the people at the top. That's who did it. That's who do it.
But that's also, like, moving forward, it's the thing that I just so frequently feel like needs to be the focus of change, right? Like, people can commit to, like, our writers' rooms are going to be, we're going to hire 60% more Black writers or whatever. And it's like, hey guys, you need to hire about 100% more Black executives.
Yes.
Right.
And people in creative positions that can green light some shit. And by the way, not just Black, like any
marginalized,
yes, marginalized community. Because when you then look at, like, the people who are able to make the decisions, the big decisions about money and what gets made and what gets seen and what jokes get out there, they're like white straight people.
Yeah.
Like, generally.
Yeah.
And by the way, you not only have to hire those people, but empower them to be able to speak up and have people change the course of what they're doing based on being spoken up to. Because let me tell you something, like, I try all the time on every show that I've ever worked on, and there just is there's no gratification, there's no glory in telling someone you shouldn't do that because it's disappointing, because it's going to hurt people. That is not a fun thing to tell somebody that you fucking work for.
Yeah.
That is in charge of you, to say, hold up. And, like, I always try to couch it in, like, I'm doing this for you, by the way, because I don't want you to do this and then log on to Twitter in an hour to find that people are having a cancel you party. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not really what it is. I don't care. Like, you know, if someone wants to swing that hard at something and get canceled, okay. I care about people being hurt by, I just don't understand. Like, if your job, if you want to make comedy and you want to be funny and bring people joy and bring people laughter, I don't get that. I don't subscribe to that. Like, it's not comedy unless someone gets hurt. I don't understand why you would want to hurt someone. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to step up to the challenge of being more creative and, like, beating the tired old joke that should be retired with something, like, fresh and new that nobody's seen before that everybody can enjoy. I don't get it.
That's why I love that one guy. He was on our show. He is white, but I think it was because he was really religious. But he, like, does really nice comedy, guys. What's his name?
Pete Holmes.
Pete Holmes.
He thought that I was the stage manager.
He did think you were the stage manager. To be fair,
Pete Holmes,
you were wearing a headset.
I was wearing
like
a
stage
headset,
manager.
but it was just a very weird situation to me because I had been a writer on Best Week Ever where he was a panelist and, like, I ascended to, like, a higher position at Best Week Ever. And then, you know, like, our roads diverged. I didn't, like, hang out with Pete Holmes a lot. But then he was like, are you the stage manager here? And I was like, wow. I mean...
how far she's fallen.
Not even that.
I mean, it's not that far.
Being a stage manager is a great job, but I
a really
just
different
got the
track.
feeling like he didn't remember that I had been a writer who wrote things for him in the past. And I was like, I really obviously made a big impression on him.
I mean, even if I think that if he would have been like, you used to be a writer, why are you doing this now? I think that would have been really, so him just being like, this is your job, cool. And then you being like, no.
I took it like he had zero memory of the fact that I ever wrote comedy for him to perform, and that, it's fine. He's great.
I mean,
He's
you know the secret. You can't take anything personally because everybody's just so self-absorbed.
Oh, 100. Yeah.
Right.
Also, I think that I don't consider myself a self-absorbed person, but I do not remember people. Like, I don't remember people's names. I don't remember people's faces. I'm so sorry. Like, I have to meet you like 4 times. Like, if we if I talk to you in a bar for like 2 hours, like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, what an amazing conversation with this person I'm never going to see again. So if I see you again, please be chill.
Shantira, the first time we met, we had like a really long, nice talk, and it took us like over a year to realize that we had like met one time before and spent the night talking.
Well, okay, I will also say you met me in New York and I was in a really bad place. So if anybody ever met me in Brooklyn from May 2017 till September 2018, you have been forgotten. I blocked you out, baby.
Oh, man.
I had to push you out.
I do have to say, New York City is very magical in this moment with all this snow.
Because you don't have to shovel it.
Well, that's the truth.
If you had a driveway right now, you would be cursing that snow.
Also, though, I did. Party? You guys hear that? Thing falling to the ground?
Yes.
I mean, at what point is the Harry Styles music going to start pumping?
Soon.
In celebration of
His birthday?
Soon.
Harry's birth.
His 27th.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Talk about
Happy fucking birthday.
Talk about spreading joy in a way that harms no one and helps many.
Oh, yeah.
Harry
Your
Styles.
Saturn returns,
Guys.
baby. I hope it's good. I hope it's not too fucking wild.
And he's going to go through it, I think. I really do. I feel it for him. I have to say, guys, this is so embarrassing. Occasionally people will reach out to me via Instagram DMs or like a comment or whatever. Like, you were in my dream last night. It was so weird. We were hanging out. We were friends. You guys, I've now started dreaming that Harry Styles and I are friends. That was my fucking dream last night.
That's cool, though.
That I was like, well, we weren't friends. Like, in my dream last night, I saw him and he was with a friend of mine, and I went up and like talked to them a bit. You guys, what? I had a realistic dream in which I was hanging out with Harry Styles. Birdie has turned me into
a stan.
Like a real stan.
Yeah.
I'm like a huge fucking fan. I listen to Harry's music. I love it. Have you listened to
He
it?
makes bops.
Yeah.
He bops. He does make bops.
I think that's really cool. That, again, well, to bring it back to my dad, one of the coolest things my dad ever did is that he took me to see Purple Rain when I was way too young to go see it, because he had a visitation, one that he actually made it to, and he felt guilty because he had missed a couple. So anything goes, and so I was like, I really want to see this movie Purple Rain. So he took me, and obviously like there were some scenes where I just wanted to like run out of the theater and die of embarrassment watching it with my dad. But at the end of the movie, my dad, who's like such a music snob, I was like, what is he going to say about this? Like, it's so weird or whatever. And at the end of the movie, my dad turned to me and he was like, that guy's really talented. That kid is really talented. Thanks for introducing me to him. And I thought it was so cool, and it made me feel so cool. And I'm sure you liking Harry makes Birdie feel very cool.
That's so nice.
Well, I don't know. Birdie's already on another level being cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You think that, but also Birdie is still a kid.
Birdie is real fucking over my pole dancing. I will tell you that.
I mean, that must be weird.
Well, every part of me being Birdie's mother must be weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, this poor person, these kids have to deal with like this bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I think it's cool.
Thank you, Shantira.
But also, I'm
you,
33, so
yeah,
Yeah.
you're also not
like
not.
you do look
In my
younger.
head, you're still 27.
thank you so much. At my last job, the showrunner was like, "You're 23, right?" And I was like, "What?" And then the other girl, she looked at, she goes, "And you're 33, right?" And she was like, "I'm 29." And I was like, "I'll take mine."
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's wild. Have you guys done that thing like the filter, like how old
Yeah,
you
I
look?
guess is how old you are.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I haven't.
Have you done
I
that?
haven't
Yeah.
done it.
Mine always comes out to like 29 or something.
That's not
Okay,
because
yeah,
you
I
got
know, me
good
too.
skin. Y'all got good skin.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is true. Although, you guys, I had that zit that I didn't want to pick, so I went to a dermatologist and he put too much cortisone in it, and now I have a crater in my head.
Oh no.
I know, so I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Get some filler in
can't-
there.
I know you can put a little bit of filler in it. It's like I don't do any filler or Botox or anything, but I think that because also that's part of my Olay contract, like
Yeah.
they're really I'm not allowed to,
Yeah.
which I love. But I think that could be an exception just because it's like filler to fix a hole in my head.
It might also just fill back in. I don't know.
Well, they say it does, but there's some filler. I know this sounds crazy. There's some filler. It starts with an L, maybe.
I will not know the answer.
I know. I don't know it either. That like supposedly if you inject it in like to a place like that where you've had like I'm supposed to have like tissue here. It's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
Right.
but it'll help regenerate.
Yeah. Or you could maybe get a little fat transfer.
Hyaluronic acid.
A fat hyaluronic acid? Yeah.
I think it's hyaluronic acid.
Okay.
I think you put hyaluronic acid in it and then it like makes the stuff. Guys, I don't fucking know. What am I? I'm not a dermatologist.
I will say that I probably will never get plastic surgery for anything, but I am obsessed with plastic surgery and I just like read about procedures and like look at the procedures and like in a scientific way, I guess. Anyway, that's what I do.
Wait, do you ever look at on Instagram on the Explore page?
I look on the
Do you ever get
yes, I look on the
plastic
Instagram
surgery?
Explore page, and also there's this website Real Self where people like post pictures of themselves and ask like, and doctors answer like, oh, here's what I'd do to your boobs, or here's what
No.
yeah, and I'm just like very
That's fucked.
and then people are
Whoa.
like. Then people like post, pictures after like, I got this peel done and I'm unhappy with it. And then doctors are like, oh, somebody shouldn't have done that peel to you. You should have gotten this.
I hate it. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
That stresses
I don't like
me
this at all.
out. That stresses me out.
I can spend
VV
I can spend a
stressful.
good hour scrolling realself.com.
No, I'm just gonna keep looking at dogs and boats.
Well, on the idea of real self, who is your real self? Who are you? What defines you in and of itself? What are you? Is that a good intro? Guys,
That-
I just made that
that
up
was
on the spot.
actually kind of amazing.
Yeah,
It actually might be the best intro that we've ever done.
yeah. Don't pooch it. Don't pooch it. Let's move through it.
I'm about to, baby. Oh, I'm about to. We have the pleasure, the ultimate pleasure of speaking with Derek DelGaudio, who has an incredible special now out on Hulu called In and of Itself. That's based on, it's like a documentary based on his live stage show that ran in New York for a couple of years. And it combines, it's to say that it's a magic show is not giving it full credit. If you haven't seen it yet, we highly, all three of us, I say we, not in a royal we sense, but
No.
all three of us highly recommend it
I would even say maybe if you have free time, pause this,
right now.
go watch it on Hulu.
Go watch it.
And then come back and listen to us talk to Derek. You do what you want, but that's what I might
You
do.
got to live your own life.
Yeah.
I cannot live it for you.
I mean, that's what this.
I would like to.
That's what the whole in and of itself is about. It's like you got to be you, baby.
You got to be
That's
you,
right.
baby. So we had a real lovely discussion with illusionist, performer, writer Derek DelGaudio. And here it is. Guys, listen, it's a new year. It's always a great time to discover new things about ourselves and our interests. The same is true for the kids in our lives, to make those same discoveries. I've been a fan of KiwiCo for years and years and years. Literally since they started, I've been getting these crates delivered to my house. With KiwiCo, your child can get very cool hands-on science, art, and geography projects. They're delivered to your door every month. They're great gifts. It's perfect. It's been perfect during this time as well, lockdown and pandemic vibes, since you can't really take your kids out to like museums and, you know, different places where they can have experiential learning. Kiwi Company brings them to your door. So the projects range from subjects, art, engineering, science, design. They're for all ages and they're age specific, which is really awesome because obviously I have two kids that are very different ages, but also I do think that especially now it's hard to find new creative ways to keep your kids busy without screens, and something that they're interested in. I cannot tell you how much Cricket genuinely looks forward to these little crates every month and doing the projects with me. And the greatest part is that like most of the time she basically can just do it herself. Anyway, there's no commitment in the subscription to getting them month to month. So you can pause it or you can cancel it anytime, but you're not going to want to. I promise you, these have been such a highlight for us. I've literally been buying them myself since Birdie was a baby. So KiwiCo, redefining learning, hands-on projects. It builds confidence, creativity, and critical thinking skills. We just did a really cool space and star one, and we were looking at all different constellations, and Cricket made a little lantern, and she's like carrying the lantern all over, and it's very cute. Anyway, there's something for every kid or kid at heart at KiwiCo. Get 30% off your first month plus free shipping on any crate line with the code BEST at KiwiCo.com. That's 30% off your first month at KiwiCo.com. Promo code BEST. I will say ButcherBox is amazing. Each month they send a box of the highest quality meat for a better price than the grocery store. I think we're all in a place now where we're like, do we have to go places? Can people just send stuff to us?
Right.
Because I know I'm there. Like, it's so hard to even conceptualize going anywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
To be honest, I just want to go home and order a box of meat to come to my door.
we love ButcherBox. Each box comes with 9 to 11 pounds of meat, enough for 24 individual meals. It's packed fresh, shipped frozen, vacuum sealed. It stays that way. You can customize your box or go with one of theirs. Either way, you get exactly what you want. It's kind of a no-brainer. They have options like 100% grass-fed and finished beef, free-range organic chicken, heritage pork, wild-caught Alaskan salmon. That's what we had. It was so good.
Yes.
Sugar, nitrate-free bacon. We also had that.
The bacon's so good.
Cricket loved it. Right now, you can get a free rack of St. Louis ribs, 1 pack of bacon, and 1 pack of pulled pork off of your first box. That's just for free. They're just going to give it to you. That's 1 rack of St. Louis ribs, 1 pack of bacon, and 1 pack of pulled pork for free in the first box. Just go to butcherbox.com/best. That's butcherbox.com/best. Go get your meat. Guys, did you know that women are 4 times more likely than men to say that sex was, quote, not at all pleasurable in the past year?
Oof.
Whoa.
That makes sense.
Luckily, Dame Products are here to help. Dame Products is a female-founded company. You know we love it.
Yes.
They're making toys for sex that close the pleasure gap. 1 vag at a time. Vibrators and accessories that are all made with medical-grade silicone, smart design principles. They look cool. They have earned glowing press from the New York Times. That's legit.
I mean,
W Magazine, legit. Many more. Some of the best-selling products is the Arc, which is a G-spot vibrator that helps you discover your perfect spot. It launched in January 2020, and Arc sold out in just 72 hours. You're going to want your own. And the Eva 2 is a wearable hands-free external vibrator for couples. The flexible wings on Eva 2 hold it in place so your hands are free to roam. Anyway, guys, we love it. The best part, Dame offers hassle-free returns within 60 days. Wow. So your satisfaction is literally guaranteed. Go to dameproducts.com/busy today, and you're going to get 15% off. Go get yourself some fucking vibrators, guys. 2021 is the year to come.
Yeah.
That's dameproducts.com/busy for 15% off site-wide.
Get it.
Get it.
Okay, guys, this is very exciting. Derek DelGaudio is joining us today. Did I say it right?
You did.
You can ask these two. I had a talk show for 1 year, Derek, and sometimes I would have friends come on and I would mispronounce their names. So I'm glad I got it right.
Did well. You did well.
Well, I'm a huge fan of yours. I saw In and of Itself in the theater in New York. And I love the special that's now on Hulu, the documentary sort of version of it. It's interesting. How do you describe it? Because it's not exactly the show. It's an interesting way to do the show, right?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's a translation of the show.
It's a translation of the show.
Yeah.
It's a new interpretation of the show.
Yes.
And we'll just tell everybody what type of show it is. It's, Busy's a real magic bitch.
She's a real magic bitch.
And Derek is, magician isn't really, that's not the right.
It's not right.
It's not all. It's more than magic.
I just like watching you guys try to figure it out.
Well,
Like,
try to figure out how to do an interview or just
all of it, really. Yeah, I have a background as a magician, sleight of hand, and things like that. And this is a theatrical one-person show that explores the notions of identity. And and we recorded it and turned it into a special that's on Hulu.
And it's super special, by the way.
Thanks.
It's amazing.
It's incredibly moving and emotional, and what I love about it is exactly what I loved about seeing the show in person, which is that everyone has their own experience.
Yeah, it's not really about me. It's about them. They just don't know it until it's too late.
Right? Yes.
That's very important. Like, if you told me that you were going to do that to me on a good night, I might not have showed up. So I really do I love that because I think people oftentimes avoid what they need the most. And I do think that shows are a way also to see what you need, but also an escape. So probably a lot of people were avoiding what they needed most and went somewhere to ignore what they needed to get in touch with, and then you got them there. And I think that that's really cool. I think that people watching the special, especially a lot of times things just don't work on film. I've seen shows, especially in black box theaters, when you be like, this is great. You cannot put this on TV. It will not be enjoyable.
Right.
So just to be able to get to a point where it does transcend just being in a theater, that you could turn it on in your house and get that same experience is really an ode to how well it works. And that's in my opinion.
Right. So that's kind of I wanted to start off with that, which is that
Oh, have we started?
oh yeah.
Okay.
This is it.
Okay, this
is it.
Okay.
And Derek, thank you for that, because the truth is sometimes it's hard to tell even for us. But when the decision was made to try to put this incredible experience, it's in the show in and of itself, as I saw it on stage, was really an immersive experience.
Yeah.
So in conceptualizing how to do a film version.
Mm-hmm.
Was Frank Oz a producer on of the stage show as well?
But
here?
he directed it.
He directed the stage show already. So
Yeah.
had you guys discussed early on, or was it something that came about during the run of the show? Like, let's figure out a way to do this. So you obviously filmed like a bunch of different shows.
Sure. It came about during the run. I haven't traditionally filmed my work because I agree. I don't think most live productions translate well, and my work has been live for the most part, and so I just never felt the need to do it because I didn't want to put it on a different medium and have it be less than what I felt it was. But this, for some reason, I started to feel like it maybe could work. It could translate somehow, and so I started thinking about it and how that might look, and how we could use the medium of film to elevate it, as opposed to just try to capture it. And no one really wanted to do it at first. Because the show was working so well, and it was like, when you think of capturing a live event, most of the things we think of are either concert films or stand-up specials, and then you get or like a PBS capture of a live musical.
Even the Hamilton movie, which I think is really, really well done, is just the staged version.
Right.
That's been filmed.
Those are the things people think of, and I knew that's not what I wanted, and that's not what we'd end up with. But it's hard to kind of pitch what that is, even though what was pitched initially, when I first started having the conversations, even to Frank, was like, there's archival footage, and we'll use things like maybe animation to help tell the stories, and we'll capture multiple evenings so they'll see the totality of it, as opposed to just these individual nights. Because for me, the show wasn't really multiple shows. It was one long show that spanned a few years. That's why the book is there, to keep the story going. And so you get to see the totality of it, as opposed to these individual evenings. And so I started kind of tossing that idea out, and no one really wanted to do it because they didn't know how. Like, they're like, Frank was even like, I don't really see it, but like, good luck with that. At first. But then the more we talked about it, and the more he saw footage and stuff, the more he realized he got on board and saw the same thing that I saw, and that there were surprises that you normally don't get in live productions. For instance, the way I'm performing isn't very performative. So on film, it actually seems natural. It's like film acting, not stage acting. And normally when you capture a stage show, everything's big and broad, and it doesn't work as well, and it's meant for the theater. So there are things like the performances were translated well. The experiences the audiences were having translated well. And so just the pieces started to come together, and the creative team was like on board, and then it was just about finding someone to pay for it.
Right.
And that was another challenge because, again, no one wanted to do it. We got turned down by everyone. And
Caissie and I know what that's like.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
We know. Can I go back to something that you said?
Sure.
Because we're always talking about pivots and like handling setbacks.
Sure.
On this show, and I'm a giant fan of Frank Oz, who directed your special. And just for context for people at home, in case you don't know, Frank Oz, legendary film director. You also might know him as Grover from Sesame Street. He's Miss Piggy. He's the voice of Miss Piggy, and like grew up to be this amazing legendary director who's very imposing. He's an imposing guy, right? He's like a little intimidating in my experience. So at that moment when he said, "Good luck to you," as you said, how did that feel, and like, how did you handle that?
Fine. We have a great relationship, and he's like, if you have a vision for it, I want to support you in doing that and helping however I can. That was his approach, and he did, and made sure that it was a film in the end. But it took him seeing it and moving, like pushing towards that. for him to really see what I was seeing. And we made it, we made it together and spent a year editing it. And it was an amazing experience for me because it was like, film school with Frank Oz. It was really
I mean,
Yeah.
amazing.
I have to say, like, I do also want to point out that this is the before times, before the pandemic. And so
Yeah.
I kind of want to ask you as a magician in terms of how this last year, now almost a year, has affected how you're thinking about magic and performance and your work, like, moving forward.
I mean, I don't really think about it that way. I haven't performed since the show closed in 2018, and didn't perform. I don't know how long before that. So I wrote a book last year,
Right.
and so I don't really care about performing that way. Like, it's fine. If it's the end of a process for me, and if that process requires that I get in front of people and say things, that's fine. But that's not necessarily the medium that I really am interested in.
What is the medium that you're really interested in?
I don't really have one. I'm just interested. I'm interested in what I'm interested in, and whatever medium is required to say the things I want to say or make, that's what I'll use. I don't really think about the form so much as the ideas.
I have a question. I know you primarily from like magic, but I
Mhm.
think about just as an artist,
Mhm.
that understanding that like you're interested in creating art and whatever medium allows you to present that to the world, I like fully appreciate. My question for you is that this show that we watched was so cool because it involved so many people in the audience. Like, how do you transition from doing something that you were talking about, you practiced alone for so long, you practiced alone all the time, to going to doing something in front of all of these people and then inviting them to participate? How do you transition from like, I'm practicing by myself to being ready to like involve the world into this thing that you were doing by yourself?
I wasn't ready. I wasn't. I wasn't. I did. There was no choice. I had a date that I needed to. There were tickets being sold for a date at a theater, and I had to show up and do it, ready or not. And so there's a photo of me from the first and only dress rehearsal taken after. I don't know who took it, but because it's kind of a mean photo. But it's me sitting in empty chairs in the audience with my staff kind of staring at me with my just have my head down because nothing worked. Nothing I set out to do, nothing worked. Nothing was clear. Nothing was right. It just wasn't good at all. And an audience was showing up in 3 hours that had paid money to see whatever the hell this was. And I found out later that the heads of the theater were actually having discussions about how to replace the show.
Oh, shit.
Already,
Wow.
they were like, what are we gonna do? Like, this thing's supposed to run for 6 weeks, and it might not last 6 days, And so, this is untraditional in the sense that most of the time when you do a show like this, especially material like this, you want to work it out in front of people, and like comedians do. You get up and you do open mics, or you workshop it and you go from club to club and you figure out what works and what doesn't, and you come up with your set hour or whatever it is. This was not like that because there's no way to do that.
Yeah, you can't practice this.
You can't
push the bit.
Yeah.
You push the bit.
Yeah. So it was all theory and ideas and script and hope and belief that this would work, and then I just had to get out there and do it. And I turned it around by the first performance because I realized like it wasn't going to be what I wanted to be the very first performance. So I made it work as a performance and not as a work of art so much. But
Oh, interesting.
it was kind of like my friends and collaborators were like, you're going to need to carry this show for a while. Like, it's too big. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than like what you're trying to do is not, you can't just get out there and start doing this. You got to, not fake it till you make it, but you have to sell it for a little bit and be a performer. And so it was a little more, performative at first. So I was more more of a performer,
Like
I guess.
a showman.
A show, yeah. It was a show. It was a show.
Yeah.
And
You're essentially Hugh Jackman, is what I think you're saying.
The
I think you're-
greatest.
yeah.
I think you're comparing yourself to Hugh.
I wish. Have you met him? Have you met
Yes.
him?
Yes.
He's the only movie star I've ever met, and I mean that in the sense where I met him, and it was he's a fucking movie star the way you
Yeah.
think movie stars
Yeah.
are. Every other movie star I've met is just a person
Yes.
who happens to be a movie star. And when I met Hugh Jackman, he was a halo over him. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
We had our friend Andrew Rannells on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he told a very funny story about being unable to stop hugging Hugh Jackman when he met him, and like he just kept going in to hug him,
To find
and at some
the body part, like the muscles
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
he just was like, I just had to keep hugging him,
Mhm.
and I understand it. Hugh Jackman is
Yeah.
a movie star. He's
So-
a real old-fashioned movie star.
Yeah. So if you want to compare, that's fine. I'll take it.
Okay, great. I'm glad. But your background in magic. Now, I don't think I made this up. I think that I went with Neil Patrick Harris to see you at the Magic Castle
Sure,
in
that's-
like 2007
sure,
or 6.
That's probably true. It's one of the few
Is that
places.
right?
Yeah, I'm sure. It's one of the few places you can perform doing that. So,
Mhm.
Right. You were
s-
very young,
younger than I am now. Yes.
weren't we all?
Yeah.
And I remember Neil saying like, you guys have to see this guy. He's gonna be a superstar. And you really did make such an impression on Mark, who's now my husband, at the time we were just dating, and me, that when we went to In and of Itself, as soon as you walked on stage, we like both grabbed each other and were like, oh my God, it's the guy.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
yeah. So when you were sort of starting out doing sleight of hand and that kind of stuff, like going into places like the Magic Castle is essentially the equivalent of stand-ups going to like the Comedy Store and going up every night, right?
Yeah, I mean
Or
that's
no?
yes. That's the only place where you can work stuff out. Like, because like I did shows at Largo, I did shows
Mm-hmm.
at the Hermosa Comedy Club and at the comedy clubs in town and things like that. But you get one night every however, like rarely. It's not like you can gig it at those places the way that, because you're the freak in that place. You're not really what the people are there to see. So the Castle is one of the only places in the world that you can go grind out material the way that a comedian would grind out material in a comedy club. And so that was a place I went when I was younger, and it's half social in that it's where you meet friends who come to town who do the same thing. They obviously want to go there, and so you just kind of end up just like a comedy store or something like that.
Where did, just out of curiosity, how did because I know you had a show before In and of Itself,
Mhm.
but where did the idea, was In and of Itself something that you were sort of had been thinking about for a long time, like wanting to do basically a one-person show exploring these themes and using your own? And this is a question that I don't know if you even want to answer, because I don't know, and I'm a sort of terrible host in the way that I don't do a ton of research. So I don't even know if it's true, the show about you.
Oh,
If it's truly autobiographical, or
Yeah.
if you've
yeah.
it is. I assumed.
Well, every word I say. Yeah.
Okay.
Every word.
I assumed. But I don't know. You could also just be like a sociopath. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. But that's part of it, is like if I'm not sure what context or history I'd need to have for one to believe me.
I
Right.
think one of the things that's really cool too is that like obviously everyone leaves the show with their own experience, but some people need what is happening in the show to you, they need it to be true, and then some people need it not to be real, and I think that they'll decide for themselves what works for them. Even when I like think about Hamilton, or I think about a Broadway show, like I know exactly what they're there to give me. Like, give me the old razzle dazzle, give me some kick lines, give me some harmony, because your girl cannot do harmony. But It's going to sound the same.
Yeah.
But I think one of the fun things I think about theater is that, like, nobody goes and sees a drama and is upset that there's comedy in it. Like, I've never, like, watched a dramatic play and been like, God damn it. Then the second act,
Right.
they made me laugh and I'm really fucking mad about it. And I think there's really something cool about knowing you from a very specific type of thing and then going there and seeing theater. Because I think that people sometimes will be like, magic is not theater. Comedy is not theater. Like, this is not theater. And to go there and to get more than what you went there for. And was that your intention? Like, did you, when you were like, I want to do this stage show, was it something cathartic for you, or was the intention for it to be a catharsis for everyone involved?
That's a good question. I didn't set out to do. I set out to make something no one had seen before, in an effort to create a metaphor for identity. And so I wanted to create something that existed but wasn't easily defined, and that used mystery as a way of kind of accessing parts of a discussion about identity that I hadn't seen or heard before. And
so, like, a really light task.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it wasn't a theater show ever for me either. That's why when I actually didn't even want a director. When I very first started, I was like, I don't want to direct. I don't want it to be in a theater, but it needs to be somewhere. So it's better than, some sort of, a boxcar in a train station or something. Like I wanted people to show up.
Why didn't you want it to be in a theater?
Because it's one step closer to deciding what it is. It's a theater show at that point.
That's right.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah.
So, but we have to have it somewhere. All right, it's fine. It's at a theater. They're going to call it a theater show. That's fine. But I don't want a director, because then you're one step closer to understanding what this is. Oh, it's a one-man show because there's a director and it's in a theater.
And there's one man.
So like the more the irony is, like, the more you do a thing, the more it becomes defined, and then it's kind of actually working against the thesis of the entire project. So it's that balancing act of how do you go into the world and exist and remain undefined. It's not easy, but I obviously needed, someone outside of me to reflect what people are going to see, because I couldn't workshop it. So Frank was the obvious choice, because he is exactly what you were saying earlier about he's done all of these different things and lived all these different lives as an artist, and he's Yoda, and he directed What About Bob and Little Shop of Horrors, and everyone thinks of a different thing when they think of Frank Oz if they know his work, and I thought he might understand, and he did, thankfully. And what was the question again? Sorry, I got off track,
But you're answering it.
Yeah.
I think
Welcome to our podcast.
It was like, is this a cathartic thing for you, or is
right.
this open to being cathartic for other people? But I think that it's all encompassing, right?
Right. Yeah. I didn't have anything about me in it when I first started writing it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, nothing was in it. It was all the ideas, but it wasn't very accessible for people. And so, like I would stand up in the studio and recite things, and Frank would be like, I don't really know what you're talking about right now. And because everything was very abstract, because I was moving, the pendulum was so far in the direction of, I don't want people to know what this is, because the not knowing is the point. Mystery is the point, of all the things we can't see about others, and yet they exist. We need to learn how to appreciate the things we can't see in others, and so, like, these are the things I was striving for. So it was a little too far, and there needed to be an access point for the ideas. And so me and my stories became a proxy for the audience to access these ideas.
As somebody who has written a memoir, that's incredibly personal, and has put my own self out for others to consume and relate to, and then reflect back to me their experience of my experience. I was prepared to a point at what that was going to be, but nothing can really prepare you for it. And so I'm curious how, if you did protect yourself in any way from that, or how you allowed that in. I personally am I enjoy having the connection with people.
Right. Like them knowing about who you are and things like that.
Yeah, and me and them saying to me like, thank you for saying this because this is what happened. This is my story, you know. And then like,
yeah,
because I'm sure you've had a lot of that. No,
not really. No one really.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. No, I mean, I've only talked to you and some other people, but it's not like you can write that you can't really write all that in a tweet. So it's not really.
But people don't like send you fan mail or like DMs and stuff.
They do, but they don't. It's weird. It's not necessarily like I connected so much with, not growing up with a father, or maybe I'm just not getting enough mail.
I don't know. Yeah, it's also wildly specific, and if I know anything about people, it's that like so many people have the exact same wildly specific experiences.
Yeah, I think like the things I get are more they're less personal than that, or they're personal in a way that they make it about themselves and not about me. Like and so they usually, if they write, it's about them, and it's not really about my story. Or they say thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, and those things are not, that sort of stuff is not hard for me to like tell. Those stories is not difficult. The part that's hard for me is telling them and believing that they will be received in the way that I intend. I don't want to be mistaken for a person doing a sappy one-person show, like a melancholy, woe is me, look at my life show. That's not what it's about. And so I was very concerned early on with that, because I don't like shows like that. I don't want to see shows like that. I don't know, that there has to be something more. It has to be so selfish that it's generous.
Right.
And it's rare that happens.
That's why I think it was so genius. This is more of a comment than a question.
Sure.
I think it was so genius because you gave a little bit of yourself. And I think people, especially when you're talking about magic, I'm sure you've had the experience of people entering into it skeptically or wanting to like catch you out at something. And I'm not like that. Like I want to believe and I want to enjoy
we all love magic here.
We all
so
love,
It's a safe space, I guess.
History of magic loving between us. But I will say that like I can tend to be guarded and like withhold judgment on something or withhold opinion on something. So when you were sharing like personal things, it cracked me open in a way that then when you're talking about like what people's identities are, I was already open a little bit to that and also to the magic, and they were both like strangely emotional. That's what surprised me the most, is like how emotional it made me feel.
Well, that's something that I'm glad that I made some of the choices that we made, because I knew that I had to give something because I was asking so much of them. And so it didn't seem like anything for me to give parts of myself or stories or just open up and be honest, because I would never ask someone to do something that I wasn't willing to do. And so I on that stage and in all my work, I wanted to make sure that if I'm going to have people take leaps of faith, I needed to be taking leaps of faith. And if I'm going to have people be vulnerable, although I never asked of it, I knew it was part of it is this idea of being seen in front of people. I needed to be vulnerable first, if I was going to require that of someone else. And I never really see that in performances. Rarely, I rarely see people, performers especially, being genuinely vulnerable in a place. It's usually performed vulnerability, or like it's affected and it's like rehearsed, but it's not actual vulnerability. And right. I engineered things into it that were put me on the other end of the barrel. Like I genuinely didn't know if the book was coming back every single day. No idea.
Right.
No idea. There's no there's no contingency plan. People had asked me what happens if they don't come back. It's like, I guess I get another journal, like, and start over, I guess. Like, these were things that were made at a high wire act in a way that you can't fake. You could fake it, I guess, but for me, if I'm telling a story about becoming this, mythical character of the Ruletista, I have to put a bullet in a chamber, and what metaphoric bullet am I loading each time that really makes this more real than not? And so I really tried to put myself in a situation where I didn't know things and I was unsure of how things would turn out and how people would react and what and also being honest with them. And
because I wanted to say, because there's also the big moment at the end, which
no spoilers.
No spoilers.
But I think it's interesting because I think in the filmed version you said, if you picked something that doesn't really apply to you, please sit down.
I say, if some of you may have had fun with it and chose something like Ninja or Space Pirate, others may have taken it seriously, chose something you feel reflects who you really are in this world. If you're one of those few people, please stand.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I did something fucking weird with mine though, because I picked something that I felt real about, but then I was too embarrassed.
Well, that's part of the experience.
It was. It really was.
Yeah, it is. It's a confrontation.
Yeah.
Not that you picked that one, but in the film, someone picks idiot, and then you're like the person who picked idiot, and then they like didn't want to raise their hand. And then in my head, I was like, it's probably like somebody who was like, this is fun, and then you have to like reckon with it, which I think is one of the things.
You have to own it.
You have to own it. When you walk into the theater, I didn't get to walk into the theater, y'all. I just watch people walk into the theater on the screen. But when you walk into the theater, I think the first thing you do, right, is like you pick who you are. You're like, I am, I pick, you pick. But I think the metaphor, it's so interesting to like, we pick who we are when we go a lot of different places. Like when you go to the library, you pick who you are when you want to talk to the librarian. When you go to this show, you pick who you are. And so many people are very literal, right? And so many people do pick something that's kind of willy-nilly. But in your show, I think that there is that moment where everybody is like given a moment to come to terms with who they picked, who they are. And I mean, I think it's really interesting to put that type of vulnerability, like honestly on camera, and to do it alone while doing magic in 500 times is a real testament to like vulnerability, like you were saying. So obviously the pandemic or whatever, one of the things that you said, you were like, you don't really perform that much anymore. Is there something that you are waiting for something else to do, or do you just do you not want to do that right now? Is there a reason why you just don't feel like performing?
Well, I mean, imagine I wasn't doing that show right now. What performance would I be doing?
I don't know. Magic Castle?
I don't know.
I don't know what you.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, what stage do you see me getting on, doing stuff?
Well,
like
I mean,
I don't. My work doesn't. I'm not interested in doing the work people expect me to do. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care if it takes another 10 years to get on stage again. I'm going to take my time and do something that I feel is worth putting into this world, and not just go out there and get some attention. I'm not interested in that.
So that is something like is what I would love to discuss more of as an artist, as someone who creates things, because I do think that we live like in a world where like content must be created. It's quantity over quality. Yeah. So like how do
that's also because of art, because artists, because you gotta fucking eat, dude. And so like so many artists have to like take jobs that they don't want because they gotta feed their kids and themselves,
I'd rather take a job that pays the bills and make the art I want to make than compromise the work I want to do and take jobs that I feel like does that.
Same.
I that's why I've had regular jobs. I'm like, unlike most of my peers, it's like I would rather go get a real 9-to-5 job and do that, and on my off time make the work I want to make, than go out and do card tricks at your birthday party. You know, like that.
I mean,
That's
my birthday party would be super fun. Just
I was
FYI.
gonna say.
I'm sure it would be, but it wouldn't be right for the work I'm trying to do. And so I will do what it takes to make sure that the work comes first, and even if that means at my own sacrifice.
What do you see as the work?
It's not like some grand vision. It's one step at a time. But like this show wouldn't exist if I was also getting out and doing stuff on stage,
Right.
because you can't help but start to react to the audience and like, oh, that worked, that line got a laugh, oh look, because if you're creating the work if that's your laboratory, you're going to want it to succeed. And so it becomes a collaborative process whether you're aware of it or not. I wanted to make sure that I had what I wanted to say ready before I let them start to join me in the dialogue and inevitably shape it. So sometimes it takes time to sit down and write a thing or make a thing or come up with an idea and then present it to them, and not let them come near it until it's ready enough for them to see it or hear it. Otherwise it could be distorted and it could be not as pure as you want to, as it could be.
I think you did a really good job of that because I don't want to spoil. My favorite part, I'll just say, is the letters.
Sure.
I think that's so beautiful. And I feel like that is one of the best moments I've ever seen in any medium. First of all, anybody who volunteers for anything is like really brave. I think people forget how brave it is to raise your hand in a theater and to come and be on stage with someone. So like, how do you feel about creating a space where like people who like usually aren't very brave or like might just be in a theater wanting to be quiet, to create a space where people feel brave enough to share that moment with you?
Well, you need to create, like you said, create the space that allows for that. And sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't matter how safe a space it feels. They're not that person. They're not going to, or, if they're in front of other people, they're not going to let their guard down. That's inevitable.
I wanted to ask about that. How many shows did you end up doing in the run of In and of Itself?
Total like 700, and it was 552 in New York though. So
I had a super, the one I saw was like super emotional.
Yeah.
Everyone, I was like sobbing from, I don't even like line 3. I don't even know. You were crying. Everybody was like crying in my show. But I imagine that couldn't possibly be the tenor of every show that you did. Were there some nights, performances, when you went out and you were like, oh, fuck me?
Not yeah. Well, not there. I would walk off the stage and say that. Never on the stage and say
right.
that.
Okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, there were some nights where, well, like for instance, we were when it first got to New York, it was a very skeptical New York crowd. And then as time went on and people started to kind of accept that it was okay to like this thing, they needed to be told that it's
cool.
It's fine. You're allowed to go see this. Some comedians came and told their friends and which is nice because they're usually the assholes about magic, which is it's expected. But like when those guys came and started saying like, no, this is actually really good, you should go see it, and saying it in a way of like, it's not just fun, you should go see it. It matters. It started to shift and become people, I don't know, started taking it seriously, which was nice. And then Charlottesville happened, and there was a huge tone shift in the world, in our world, and that reflected in the theater, and people just started. It was one of those things where people were either coming to it and taking it seriously, or they were annoyed by how seriously other people were taking it. Like there were obviously people who hated it, like this is stupid. What am I watching? Just do the tricks and get off stage. So it depended on the chemistry of the audience, which, as you know, as a performer, like some nights it's magic and other nights it's, I don't like, what happened? What is this? Why did they even want me here? And for me, so I felt it change drastically a few times. And one of those times was I had been booked to go on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And I didn't know Steven when his producers came and said, we're wondering if you'd come on the show and just sit and talk for a bit. And I said, only if Steven sees the show. And they're like, well, we can't make that promise. And I was like, that's fine. I can't promise I'll go on your show. But if he sees it, then I'll go on. And if not, I'm sure you could find someone more important to have on. And luckily he came and saw it. And I went on the show, and it was fine. He's amazing and pleasant, and basically told, America to go see this show that none of them would ever end up seeing because it's 150 people a night in a small off-Broadway.
It was almost impossible for us to get tickets, by the way. I think I spent a lot of money.
Yeah, so it was very nice, very, very amazing that they had this little engine that could on, and people came because they saw it, but it did not have the effect that we had hoped, because for the next few weeks my shows were absolutely ruined because all of the people who watch Stephen Colbert came, and it turns out that's not necessarily my audience.
Right.
They were told that what they heard was, Stephen Colbert really likes a magic show, we should go see it. And boy, I have a 1-star rating on TripAdvisor because of Stephen Colbert. And if you go look at Google TripAdvisor, it's 1 star because people hated it, because their expectations were so skewed by just hearing like magic show, knowing how fun Stephen Colbert is, and then
comedy guy,
guy. Frank Oz is attached. There's probably going to be puppets, and then they come and they see this thing, and they're like, what is this? This is ridiculous. And they're looking at their watch, and 10 minutes in, and he still hasn't done anything. What's going on? So, there were nights where it wasn't what I would hope it would be. But that's part of any live performance, but particularly this, because I asked for it. Like, this is really, it's very much part of the whole thing. It's how they see it and what, and so the same is true. It's really interesting. The same is true for the book entries of what would happen is the book has these amazing waves in it where someone will take the book and they would write something poetic, beautiful, and some, and it was usually not a writer. It was usually like some lady who's just been in accounting for 35 years and wanted an adventure, and she took it very seriously and writes this beautiful sonnet about the show, and it's just magnificent. She reads it and it's beautiful, and then the next person who takes it saw that woman read that, so they take it knowing that, and then holding this thing and going away and coming back, and they feel that responsibility. And so you have these waves where like the entries are beautiful and heartfelt and sincere and genuine, and then you get some asshole who doesn't take it seriously.
I can't. Yeah.
He just dicks around and does something totally selfish and uses it as an opportunity to like be a joker on a stage or something. And like you just see the decline. The next entry again is not as good because we base it on what we have seen, and that's the standard we're held to. And it takes someone to go, no, I'm gonna do something better than that. This deserves better than that. And they need to see it as something worthy, and they invest the time. And then again, it spikes up, and you see people taking it seriously again and doing building, trying to outdo one another. And it's really, that's when you get like the pop-ups and people composing music for it. And there were people who wrote only backwards, so you have to hold it to a mirror to read the text. It was really incredible. And then you get some guy who's like, I just drew a picture of like Mickey Mouse with a huge whatever, and you're like, really, this is what you decided how to enter this work. It's open. It's so open that it does bite me in the ass sometimes, in that it has negative, obviously negative results, and people don't deliver the way that we'd hoped.
Right. You just weirdly like distilled, I think unintentionally, how live performance can sometimes like mess with your head. I come from the late night world, and I feel like you're weirdly demonstrating how every guy I've ever known in late night is like, that's who likes me. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Like,
I mean, it was shocking because like I think Colbert is brilliant, like
He is, yeah.
objectively a brilliant person.
He is.
And so when his people started, doing that, his people being like, and it's 6 people or
Like
whoever, but it was enough but
Yeah.
enough to change the chemistry in a room.
It's crazy.
And I don't think it's Colbert people. I think it's TV people. Like it's people who,
Yeah.
Yes.
and I watch TV too, so it's not even TV people. It was a different horn that we hadn't blown yet, and
Yes.
it called a group of people that we hadn't really seen at the theater yet, and they all came at once, and so it really changed the chemistry in the room, and we felt it, and it took a while to figure out what is happening.
Right.
Like, is this
Yeah.
show just not? It was so bad. I was like going back to like, is this show awful? Is this just a bad show? And everyone's kind of like, I don't know. And so eventually got to the point where I started like looking at tickets, like where are these people coming from, and I go, oh my God, this is the source.
Yeah.
And so it was good to know, and also very educational, like just knowing in the future, like, wow, if you do a thing like that, it's so big that it will change the shape of your thing, whatever that thing is. It's going to change it by now you've let this out into the world in a way that you hadn't before, and you're going to feel it one way or another, good or bad. It might be great, but you're going to feel it.
Yeah.
Well, the good news for you is that the people that are fans of us like to cry a lot.
That's my demographic.
Yeah, and they also for the most part really like magic. So they like magic and crying.
You keep selling me on that like that matters.
Well, it doesn't particularly, and they like storytelling.
It matters
they
to
listen
them.
To us ramble all along.
It might not matter to you, but it matters to them. And
I'm not surprised by people who like magic. It's the people who don't like magic that I'm interested in talking to. So yeah, I would hope that people who enjoy magic would find this. It's the people who aren't interested that I'm interested in, because they're the ones who need to see this.
Yeah, and it's obviously we talked about like we don't want to think of it as a theater show, but it's all encompassing. It's not just magic. It's not just theater. It's not just vulnerability. It's not just bravery. I think it's a little bit of everything. In the same way people walk into the theater and they pick up that little piece of paper that says
one of the nouns.
who they are. I think the same thing when you watch the show, you pick up what you need from it. You pick up who you are. I think like not necessarily like I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, but like you pick up who you are. And I really hope that when people, before they watch it, they listen to this, because I think that knowing how hard people fight to write something shitty in the book when you could just be authentic.
Yeah.
I think that is something that I really appreciate, how authentic they show people.
Yeah.
But like, that's the thing. It's
But
so
also,
hard
Shantira,
to be shitty.
some people are just shitty.
Yeah,
Truly.
it's true.
You know
Some
what I
people-
mean?
Yeah.
Some people are not capable, I think, of the intimacy that happens. And when we're saying intimacy in conjunction with theater, a small New York theater, I think people think sitting close together. But I mean legitimately intimate in like, I'm showing you something of myself, show something back to me. I think sometimes people just lock up and they will do anything, including making themselves look like a giant asshole to avoid it.
Well, that's it. It's just the truth is there. And my job, I felt, like I knew going into it, obviously people would have expectations of being deceived and things like that. But knowing that, I knew I could just tell them the truth and they wouldn't believe any of it. I tell people beforehand what's going to happen I'm telling them in a moment, you're going to open that up. And when you do, here's what you're going to see, for the letter. I'm telling them before it happens, which is very, very counter to if there is such a thing as magic theory. It's counter to these things, because you don't tell them the surprise before you do it.
Right.
Because you can't really in most cases. Or you shouldn't, because it takes away from the impact of it. But for me, I knew that telling them the truth would be they would deceive themselves. If you hear a guy just telling the truth on stage, it's actually all there hiding in plain sight. But we come to it with like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I believe that. That can't really be the case. And it's like, well, okay, then you're about to get hit with a sledgehammer when you find out that it is true. You know,
Right.
that's why it's amazing. If I was dressed like a mailman and said I have a letter for you, you probably wouldn't think much of it. But
Yeah.
because of the context, you don't believe it. And so that's what makes it impactful. And then it becomes more of an internal struggle than sort of a manufactured drama. It's real drama and conflict within yourself because you've just deceived yourself and now you have to deal with it.
Has anyone ever had a reaction to one of those moments that you felt like ill-equipped to manage in the moment?
The only thing that I was, I guess, ill-equipped for was I had twin sisters take the book. One sister took it and she came back with her twin, and they dressed alike, and we refused to tell me which one was which, and then did a musical number that lasted about 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
They brought boom boxes and
Wow.
they did the real professional but like rehearsed song and dance number. Like this was their chance on Broadway. And
Oh my God.
and I had two choices. I could stop it and obviously like thank them for their time, or let them play it out. As a person on stage in control of the situation, I had to make that evaluation, and they were so I don't want to say crazy, but they were so
Committed?
No, crazy. They were crazy.
Okay.
That I genuinely believed that it could get worse if I stopped it. It was so deranged what was happening, and
That's wild.
also so I was like and also was playing in my head was I asked them to do this. They're only doing what I asked them to do, because I don't give any limitations on what your entry can be and how you contribute.
Right.
And boy, was it a lesson learned. And so I just let it play out, but it played for 10 minutes. And Frank Oz was in the theater, and about 4 minutes in, he started filming from the back. So I have footage of it, and it is spectacular because it's me. I took a seat. I sat down in one of the chairs and watched along with this horrified audience of this bizarre Waiting for Guffman-esque, musical number, and everyone thought it was mine. Everyone thought I created it. This was the second night in New York.
Oh my gosh.
So and Ed Norton was there, and David Blaine was in the audience, and all these celebrities.
No,
and all
it
these
was the
people.
night like David Blaine came.
Yeah. It was like all these different people were there that like I hoped it went well, and they're watching this thing, and it's so crazy bad. It's like Andy Kaufman
Right.
level of entertainment, and everyone was convinced that it was part of the show, and this happens every night. And we had
So it didn't derail it though.
No, it did completely.
Oh, okay.
It completely did. So there was nothing I could do to. It was kind of, that was it, They were, let's put it this way, they had the police called on them by the end of the production because they refused to leave.
Wow.
Because they I don't know if they wanted payment or something, but it was bad, and so I
Oh my
didn't really
God.
have a lot of options to deal with them. So I was ill-equipped to deal with that. And
Sure.
there were.
But no one's equipped for that.
Yeah.
Nobody can. There's no way to
Yeah, but
prep for that.
That's the thing. You're asking people to come on to
Yeah.
your stage and to sit there and
Yep.
have an experience, and you don't know
In New York
who
City.
they are. In New York City, I went up. I got hit with a frisbee for that Mentalist. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Do you know Mentalists?
Sure.
What is his name?
I don't. This is great so far. I don't really care because it's amazing that you got hit with the frisbee.
It literally hit me in the fucking head, and then I had to go up on stage and
Where was this?
in a big theater. Tommy Kail was producing it. My friend Tommy.
Darren Brown.
Darren
Yeah,
Brown.
Yeah.
So Darren Brown's show in New York. Did you guys know this? That I got
Hit with
called
a
on
frisbee?
stage?
No.
What?
No, he said you got hit with a frisbee. No, I didn't know
Got
you
hit
got
with a
called
frisbee in the head. And there's, as a person of some note, you're in an awkward position because I'm like, I don't want this to then be about me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and people thinking that anyway, but also I'm a real magic bitch. So I wanted to like
Sure.
see what was going to happen,
Get up in there, yeah.
you know? And so I did. And then he was asking me questions and my answers were really entertaining. And he was like, he clearly didn't know who the fuck I was, which is fine. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
But like,
Why does
he
this
was-
woman have so much confidence? That's probably what he was thinking. Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, a lot of people like tweeted at me and DM'd me like, were you planted there? Are
Yeah.
you part of the show? And I was like, I wasn't. And it was fucking wild. The trick that he did, it was cool. But I don't know. I just feel like you never know what you're going to get on stage. You could get someone who's
Sure. It's like that for
Crazy.
any. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in a play, but they don't have the script, you know? That's
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're inviting a scene partner up and they don't know where it's going and they don't have the next line, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a challenge.
do you
My
miss
palms
doing
are
it?
so sweaty from hearing you tell this story.
It was nerve-wracking. Do I miss doing it? No, I don't.
Yeah. Do you miss doing it?
No, I don't miss doing it. There are a couple moments that I miss, but not as a whole. It almost killed me. So
Really?
yeah, it's the hardest. Yeah, it's twice as hard as anything you can't imagine it. You can't imagine how hard magicians understand how hard it is if they understand, because they understand what this might require. But like it's a friend of mine says it's like riding a unicycle and juggling while having to like perform, and they can't know that you're juggling or riding a unicycle. Like
Right.
Right.
it's not just monologue. It's not just get up there and monologue and do some acting. No, it's impossibly difficult to do. And it was really, really hard on me every single night. And so emotionally, intellectually, it was really draining. And to not have it affect the performance was really difficult, to make it look effortless.
Right.
It was like, yeah, you just move a ladder around and, you know, that's you carry a book and you sit down to play with some cards. But other than that, how hard could it be? It's impossibly difficult.
It's like you said, it almost killed you. I fully appreciate what you were willing to give for the show. I can fully understand. I did something in the show and it gave me a panic attack. I had to stop after 2 weeks. Like for you to do that 700 times, I think that as you watch the movie, I hope that everybody out there, as you appreciate the amount of emotional vulnerability, and to know that it's not just for 90 minutes, it's for a long time after, a long time before. It's emotional vulnerability in creating it, and then also one step further, filming it and then giving it to other people. So I really hope that like as people watch it, they like go in open so that they can appreciate and fully understand the vulnerability of the show, and then hopefully leave being able, or at least willing to try to do that themselves.
That's nice.
So thank you so much. It's really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
Derek, I have one last question.
Okay.
How did you pick the nouns? How did you pick the things?
It was just we got as many as we could and whittled it down. You know, so finding ones that would, obvious ones like, you know, mother, father, son, you know, brother, sister, and then more provocative ones like, you know, masochist, or, you know, thief.
Right.
Things like that, and metaphoric ones of, you know, pixie or things like that.
Nobody. That part in the film is pretty.
Yeah, that's a brutal. But and that happened several times.
I'm sure.
Failure was the first one I ever had. That was it was the first one, a negative one I ever had, and it took me a long time to say it because I've never confronted with that before, where someone who chose something that you might perceive as negative saw themselves as that and wanted
Recognition.
recognition for that. And we just kind of stood there and had this moment, and like w- their eyes started to water, and I was feeling like I don't want to hurt. I don't want to hurt this person, you know. And but at, but I don't want to betray their decision, you know. And so I called her a failure, and she like she I don't want to say, it's hard to describe the look, but the closest thing I've come to is like there are those scenes at the end of some movies where the hero kills the villain, and the villain thanks the hero for killing them, like with their last breath, and there's like a relief or a release of something in that death that they're grateful for. That was what I experienced. There was a gratitude in that pain somehow, and some for some reason that acknowledgement from another person, they were grateful for it in a way that, like, I don't know, it's what they needed. And it kind of wrecked me after the show. I was talking to Frank about it, and I felt bad. I was like, should I have done that? Should I have told them, you know, just sit down, like skipped them, you know, or something, you know, make a decision. And he agreed. He's like, you couldn't betray their truth. Like
you honored it.
You have to.
The truth is always there.
Yeah.
And people want to be seen. That's a huge thing that we talk about on this podcast too, is that everybody wants to feel heard and everyone wants to feel seen. And so I'm sure that person had that experience of having people say, you're not that. And so to have somebody say, like, I see what you think about yourself, and like to have that moment is a relief.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. And I learned not, from that day forward, I learned not to judge them, whatever. They were hard sometimes. But I couldn't judge them regardless. There was, we had a couple of racists that were chosen and stood proudly, which was, yeah, that changed the room a lot.
I'm just gonna guess white men.
Yeah, both white men.
Yeah.
It was wild, but like that's what it was, you know. Like you have to honor whatever truth they're living, you know, and yeah, it's really hard though sometimes to see someone, even if it's not what you want, you know. It's like you have to do it.
Do you have a noun?
I chose the same card every night. So yeah, I do. I chose the same card every night.
What is yours?
I don't talk about it.
You don't talk about it?
No. But I do have.
That's interesting.
You get to keep one thing for yourself, right? The whole show, you give everything, and then you get to keep a card. So
yeah.
I appreciate that.
Well,
that's all I got.
I see a secret. That's what I see.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us and for talking
Sure.
to us.
Absolutely.
In and of itself is really such an incredible piece of art. And I was writing my book when I saw it.
Oh.
And just we don't have to put this in the podcast, but this is just,
No, now
I
we
wanted
do.
to tell you this. I was writing my book when I saw it, and my book was really personal, like deeply personal. And I had made a deal with myself in the beginning of writing my memoir that I would write everything. And then whatever I didn't want to fucking publish, we would just take it out. And it was hard. It was hard to like face some really difficult things that like my parents didn't know, that people that loved me didn't know, that I was going to like put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And after I saw your show, and when you said, you know, every secret has a weight and you can only carry it for so long.
Yeah.
I said to Mark after I left, I was like, it all stays.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, cool. That's
wow.
great.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. So, you know, it really impacted me in an incredibly deep way. And I'm really proud of my fucking book.
That's good.
Like,
That's
you
good.
know,
Yeah.
so
That's probably why. I mean, it's because you left it all out there, right? Like you put it all on the stage, as they say. That's all you can do. That's good. I'm happy for you that worked out.
It worked out. I mean, listen, it worked out, and then there were times, some people weren't pleased about it. That's fine. They can go fuck themselves. But I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do next someday.
Yeah, me too.
I hope it defies expectations, and I hope you have just as hard a time talking people into giving you money for it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's what I keep thinking about is of course people were reluctant to give you money. It's impossible to describe.
That's right. And yeah, that's exactly right. That's how I'll know I'm making something is if people don't want to support it. Because
I swear to God, that's what Caissie and I say all the time. We knew that we had a really good idea when multiple people were like, well, that you can't do that.
Can't do that.
And we were like, oh, yeah, no, we can. And we're going to.
yeah, I mean, I heard that a lot creating the show. I heard many times along the way, you can't do that. Like, why would you do that? And so, yeah, that's how, and of course, makes me run faster towards it, whatever that thing is.
Yeah, so that's how you know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And by the way, I do want to say something because we're talking about how moving this is and how just personal and emotional it is, but also you're very funny, Derek.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Which I think is for me, that's what, sometimes I really get into something, but if it's super emotional, I just feel like I might not be able to make it through this. I might need to take a break. And so the fact that you had humor and that you were funny throughout was a little bit of a relief.
Yeah. I mean, that's people, right? People are complex. They're not just, I mean, at least interesting ones. They're not one note. They're funny on one day. They may be a little sad the next.
We like to say a bitch contains multitudes.
There you go. There you go. And if you were to ask me what I wanted to do when I was a kid, I would have said a comedian. I would have said I wanted to be, probably a stand-up. But I didn't. I don't think the social aspects of it were interesting to me, or something. I just didn't.
You dodged the bullet, baby. You don't want it.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
But yeah, that was. But I didn't realize that what I was actually interested in was people with points of views. So the comedians that I liked were the ones with very specific points of views, and I just liked people who said something, and it turned out it was in multiple mediums. Later I'd find out it's the same thing. It's just what tool do they pick up to make a thing, but yeah.
Are you friends with Paul F. Tompkins?
Yeah, he was the first show I did in LA was his show. It was the first time
at Largo.
I performed, did a show in a public space was for the Paul F. Tompkins show.
That's how I knew to come to your show. Was Paul.
Oh, great. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Paul had come and seen it. Yeah. And I did Amy Mann's shows and but it was really hard because I respect those people so much. And I want them to, I wanted them to like my work a lot. And I felt that was, I don't know, it's part of what made it challenging is that I knew that in order for them to like what I did, I would need to change what I'm doing. And they liked it enough to obviously have me be a part of their shows or something, but I knew it wasn't there. I knew it wasn't what I wanted to be doing.
Right.
Because the medium was shaping the message, and the context was forcing me to be a type of performer that I didn't necessarily want to be or should be maybe. And so I had to even those shows, which were considered privileges to be a part of, I had to remove myself from and not be a part of those types of shows anymore because they were, even though I respect those people so much, it was detrimental to maybe my mental well-being because I so badly wanted to be, I respect comedians and musicians and artists so much that I want them to like what I do. And I just never felt like what I did was worthy of sharing a stage with them because it's not meant for what I do. It's just not, now I feel like I'm fine having them come see me do something because this is what I do. But I had to break away from what they do and I was trying to do what I do in their house and in
Right.
their
Yeah.
world, and trying to like fit in. And that's just, I had to create my own world and not be a part of theirs. And I
Yeah.
needed to be okay with that. So it was a lonely process, but but because like Largo was like the place to be. I mean, Largo
Yes.
was amazing. And like if you're at Largo, you're somebody. And I was 25, so I don't know, in my 20s, and I was getting to perform at Largo regularly, and it was great. But like I never felt proud of those performances ever. I never felt good about them. I never felt good about any of the performances I was doing because they were performances. They were just
Mhm.
performances. They didn't do anything. They like, I was just a commercial break or something, you know. They had no effect in I don't know. It was just fine. It was
They
fine.
didn't move the needle toward,
Anything.
yeah.
They were just fine. Great. Another person who does a thing. That's neat. You know,
Mm.
it's fireworks. Cool. But it didn't, you know, even if I tried to say something or because like if you're a comedian, you can say something relevant and people
Mhm.
will hear it even though you're a comedian.
Yeah.
You can't say something relevant and be known as a magician. Are you kidding? Like that's not a thing that and if we do, it's usually in some pseudo intellectual way of like, oh, he understands how the mind works, or oh,
Right.
he understands how deception. So it's
Trickery.
usually trickery, and so it's usually like, you know, a TED talk on deception or some shit like that. Like, but you can't talk about, you know, how you can't talk about feelings or the world, or how something, you know, challenges you see or think. Like you can't make observations about the world. No one cares. Just do the trick. And so I found myself like just having to do the trick, and that's not what ever interested me. And so
Right.
I had to just stop doing the tricks.
I relate deeply, Derek, to you and your journey. and I'm so glad that you got to talk to us today.
And that you got to do a show where you don't have to just do the tricks.
Where you do so much more than just the tricks. Do you think maybe that should be your merch?
like on a t-shirt or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much more than just the tricks.
Right?
We'll get you a sweatshirt.
I might send you a sweatshirt that says so much more than just the tricks.
Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
We're huge fans. We love the show in and of itself. It's
Thank
on
you.
Hulu now, finally, for everybody to see. People were really mad at me. I posted about it, and then they're like, "It's sold out. I can't see it. Why did you do this?" I'm like, listen, guys, it's not my fault that you're slow.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
now everyone can see it.
It feels like people are seeing it too. It's nice. I have no comparison. I've never put anything into the world like this, but it's nice to know, because 150 people at a time is what I was used to.
Right.
So, but now I think more people have probably seen it already than did the entire run of the show.
Wow.
Well, I want you to
So-
also start checking your inboxes on your social media platforms, because I would bet money that people will start to share with you in very deeply personal ways.
Oh, that's cool.
If you're into
I don't
that
know if
kind
it
of
is
thing.
or if it isn't
I
for
don't
you,
know.
but I think it's interesting. I think it's endlessly interesting, like how people's stories and how they share them is endlessly interesting to me.
Yeah.
But
It's nice that if it has some sort of if it resonates with people, it's nice.
well, I think it definitely will. I mean, I
Good.
think it does. I think
That's
it has. I think
Exciting.
it has. I think it is. I think it will.
It will.
It's all encompassing.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's all happening. All right, Derek, go enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it.
It's very
Awesome.
nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you.
Meet you.
Thank
And
you
nice to
so
meet you.
much. Okay.
All right. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
I need to re-up on my bevs.
Yeah.
We love Bev.
Yeah.
It's a female first canned wine brand that was founded to change not only the way a product is consumed, but the way an industry and a culture have operated for generations.
We love it.
Because we love to see it in an industry, the wine industry, that is almost exclusively masculine. Bev is breaking norms and creating something from the female perspective that's approachable and it's fun and it's consumer centric.
It's
And
it's very approachable.
delicious.
We approach it
It's
all
delicious.
the time.
I approach it almost nightly. They have 3 varietals: Rosé, Sauv Blanc, and Pinot Gris, as well as a limited edition extra fizzy sparkling white wine for the holidays. Listen, we love the rosé.
Not gonna lie.
Shantira and I clearly.
That's my go-to. I love it. Delicious. I love it. Give it to me. I want it.
I love the rosé, and I love them all.
The wines are dry and they're crisp and a little fizzy and super refreshing and delicious. And they have 0 sugar and only 3 carbs and 100 calories per serving. And the cans are cute and tiny, but each can holds a glass and a half of wine. But I do feel like it's perfect because I come home from work sometimes and I'm going to have dinner and I'm like, I want a glass, but nobody else wants rosé with me. So that I'm like, am I really opening up this bottle of wine to just have a glass and a half of rosé? That's where my Bev just is the pinch hitter, comes in to play. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I love it. It's so good. It's delicious. Plus, Bev ships straight to your door and shipping is always free. So we've worked out an exclusive deal for Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. Receive 20% off your first purchase plus free shipping on all orders. I suggest you try the best-selling Ladies Night variety pack, and then you can try all of the varietals and decide which one you're gonna re-up and order more of, because you're gonna order more. I'm about to go place mine. Go to drinkbev.com/busy or use code busy at the checkout to claim the deal. That's drinkbev.com/busy. Guys, enjoy. I do need super coffee. I'm tired. I'm going to drink it in the morning. Super coffee is the healthy, delicious alternative to sugary coffee drinks like a frappuccino. And super coffee is made to power my entire day with its unique combination of caffeine, healthy fats, and protein. And it provides a sustained, jitter-free energy with no crash. Listen, guys, one of those Starbucks fraps has 52 grams of sugar, a grande one, and 370 calories. I don't really fuck with calories. Like,
Yeah. It's not great.
and 52 grams is too much. That is too much sugar.
Much.
Super coffee is naturally sweetened. It contains 0 grams of added sugar, 10 grams of protein, and only 80 calories per bottle. That sounds all good to me. Honestly, I will say everything that I've tried that they make is delicious.
Yes.
They have creamers and pods and grounds ready to drink coffee with flavors like vanilla, white chocolate, peppermint, caramel, hazelnut, coconut, mocha, and so much more. What did you like, Caissie?
I love
You
the,
loved
the coconut mocha, and also my son, who's in college, who never really was a coffee drinker before, said that super coffee is his soulmate.
Oh.
He said
That's
sometimes
cute.
you're not even looking for love and you find it.
Let me give you a helpful hint. If you need it in your coffee, we've got it for you. It's called Super Coffee. Super Coffee has a 60-day money-back guarantee, meaning if you don't love it, you get your money back. No questions asked.
But
We
you're
worked
going to
out-
love it.
I love it. I genuinely love it. You know, I need my coffee in the morning, and this is what I've been using, and I love it. We've worked out an exclusive deal for Busy Phillips is Doing Her Best podcast listeners. Receive 25% off your entire first purchase. Listen, we recommend, why don't you get into one of their best-selling variety packs or bundles, because then you can try all of their delicious flavors. To claim the deal, go to drinksupercoffee.com/busy or use code busy at checkout. Super Coffee is also available nationwide in over 25,000 stores like Target, Whole Foods, Walmart, Kroger, and CVS. But if you buy it there, I don't get credit. So go to drinksupercoffee.com/busy. Sweat 2020 out of your system with London's most popular workout pants. Sweaty Betty's polished pieces are going to keep you feeling comfortable and looking gym ready. They've sold over 500,000 pairs of workout pants. Sweaty Betty's 5-star rated power leggings have helped women crush millions of workouts in style with no excuses for years. I love them. I genuinely wear them. I think they're fantastic. No other athletic brand can compete with the Sweaty Betty Power Legging and their expertly placed seams and squat-tested compression fabric that sculpt your little butt into instant peach emoji status. The leggings are quick drying. They have pockets. We all love pockets.
The only thing I love more than a dress with pockets is some leggings with pockets. Give it to me.
That's right.
That's right, Shantira.
Give me some leggings under a dress with pockets. Let's go.
I need high-waisted,
Oh, yeah.
which is what the power leggings are. I need squat proof because, you know, I do a lot of squats.
Yeah.
I actually do.
Yes.
I actually
You do lots
a
of
lot
squats.
yes.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the seams because I like where they're placed and they make me feel and they make me look nice. Anyway, the Sweaty Betty Power Leggings, opaque fabric, adjustable drawstring waist, and pockets make your workout look as good as you'll feel. I really do love these leggings. They're fantastic. Because you deserve to look amazing before, during, and after your workout, go to sweatybetty.com/best and use our code BEST at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. This is the best offer Sweaty Betty has available anywhere. That's sweatybetty.com/best. Use our code BEST at checkout. sweatybetty.com/best. Promo code BEST. Well, that talk with Derek was amazing. I hope that you all are able to check out In and of Itself. And if you listen to the interview and then you decide to check it out, maybe you even want to go back and listen to it. I thought it was interesting. Like, I wasn't ever planning on asking him, like, how'd you do the tricks? Like, who fucking
Yeah.
cares? Because that's not the thing that was most interesting to us, to me personally. But people who knew I was interviewing him, okay, just Mark. But Mark was like, was he real cagey? And I was like, no, he wasn't cagey at all. Like, he was I felt like he was very open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that show leaves you like really raw anyway. So like, I don't think you could do it for that long and not be an open person. That kind of stuff changes you.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked him. He was sweet. He had sweet guy vibes.
Yeah, he's just like a nice man, and you know I don't like them. So
I will say, like, I relate deeply to a lot of thematically the stuff that like Derek was dealing with and a lot of the things that he was even saying just in our talk. Like, I was thinking about how, you know, post my like Instagram stories and everything, like how that was the thing that really like opened up my career. And people have asked me, like, you know, there've been like, I've done a lot of interviews in which people have asked me, but also just like people that I'm friends with, like actors or other performers who want to, I don't know, get paid posts,
Get in on
Instagram's
that.
offer.
Get in on that
Right, whatever.
gravy train.
Whatever that is. Like, how do you do it? Like, how do you do it? And I feel like the thing that he said about like knowing that he was entering into this space where he was like asking people to join him in something meant that like he had to be as vulnerable and open as possible. Otherwise it was unfair.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's like, I relate deeply to that because, you know, you talk about like the idea of like authenticity online or whatever, and it can get really tricky because then authenticity in and of itself like becomes its own commodity.
Right.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
That like people are striving for.
And it's also a question of like, can you be authentic and still reserve something that's private for yourself? Like I think
Right.
you can, but I think that a lot of people might say, well, if you're not giving everything, then you're not being authentic.
yeah,
But
What do you think his noun is
magician.
that he picks?
you think it's magician?
I don't know what it is, but I also think that like I always think that there's some stuff you should keep to yourself. I think that we give away too much. in the
Yeah.
society right now. I think that social media has us, and I think it's really important for some people to give away some things, but I think that you should always have something that's just yours. And like, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
like in the show, I think that helps, but like just in life, like if you come home and like you like The Bachelor, that's just something for yourself. And that card, he gives his whole self in that show, and that card is the one thing he keeps for himself. I think it's really healthy to always have one thing that's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like that also is like, that's been another like that was another thing that I fully fucking related to, because I do feel like people have often said to me, "You share everything on your podcast, online, blah 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 blah
But
blah."
you
And I'm
don't.
like,
No.
I don't,
And you can't.
I don't,
And you
guys,
shouldn't.
I don't. And I do think it's like interesting. You know, a lot of people were like very surprised when I spoke about Birdie and what they've been going through. And like, that's not new. Like, that's been going on for a period of time. And I would be fine. Like, it was, you know, I'm glad we were able to share about it, but I'm able to keep things for myself.
Yeah.
You know, even in being open. And that, I feel like it doesn't negate the truth of like the openness that I have.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that what you're sharing is dishonest. It just means
Right.
that there are certain things that you're not sharing. I'm the same. I'm exceedingly private. I do share a lot, but there are some things that I'm very, very private about. And it's not even like, it's what Shantira is saying. It's not even like I'm not ashamed of it. It's not that I'm like, it's none of your business. It's just some things that I just keep to myself because I just do.
I also think that people think that because they wouldn't share it, that when someone else shares it, it's too much. But
Yeah.
That's
But-
important. Yeah.
but
Mhm.
we're not the same. So people will be like, I can't believe you shared that. And they'll be like, you might not be able to share it, but I can.
Right.
So like we all have I think about like stand-ups and just performers in general. Like people be like, I can never get on stage and do that. Well, like that's my job. So like what
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to share goes beyond what you're willing to share, but also like that's what we're here for. We're all here on different journeys. So I do think that before the next time you go, I can't believe you're sharing too much. Just because you wouldn't share it doesn't mean it's too much.
Right.
And sometimes I'm like, I can't believe I shared that. But I
Yeah.
just did. I wanted to in that moment and I did.
Yeah.
And now
Caissie, most times I can't believe that you're just sitting in the pitch black and we can't,
I do have
and you don't have a ring light.
I do have a light, but it's just it was light when we came in here and now it's darkness.
Wait,
So
can I say before we move on, I just learned something. It's called a vulnerability hangover. And it's
Oh, yeah.
and if people don't know, it's when you like share something and then after you share it, you like think about it and think it was like the wrong thing to do. And a lot of people have been having vulnerability hangovers right now because usually when you share something, like you like go to a bar or you like go out to eat or you like watch TV. But now when you share something, you just have to go home and think about it. So if you
Right.
have been feeling like I've been oversharing, it probably isn't that. It's probably you have a vulnerability hangover because you're not doing all the things that take up the space that is being replaced by you overthinking what you said. So there's something.
oh, that's a good
Yeah,
that's good to
I
know.
think Brene Brown is the one that like sort of coined the term vulnerability hangover. And I first heard about it around when my book was coming out, and a few people checked in on me and were like, just so you know, like what's about to happen to you, it may cause a vulnerability hangover, and you might start to feel real fucking bad for a minute. And I 100% did. I had it
Yeah.
like in such an intense, it was for real, and it sucked, and like it was really hard.
Well, especially in the form of a book, when you've been vulnerable in the form of a book, It's like I don't know, book break for anyone that's never written a book before. you work on it for a really long time and you agonize over every word. And Shantira, I'm sure you're the same when you're writing TV. Agonize over every word, choosing very carefully what you want to say and how you want to say it, and it takes so long, and it really feels like giving birth or like climbing a mountain or whatever. And then you release this very vulnerable work out into the world and people are like, oh, I got your book. I loved it. I couldn't put it down. I read it in 2 hours. And then you're like,
right.
You're like,
Then you're like,
cool.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like the person who shall remain nameless, but who's my enemy now, said to me, yeah, I read your book. There was a lot in there.
What?
Oh my God.
What a rude hoe.
Fucking bitch.
What's that person's noun?
Bitch. No, that's too nice. That's too generous because I enjoy being a bitch myself sometimes. Well, guys, we have an advice thing. Should we read it?
We have time.
All right. Hello, lovely ladies. I recently found out my sister's pregnant and she is my best friend, and we currently live states apart from each other, and visiting is not the easiest. Yes, we feel you on that.
Yes.
When I heard she was pregnant, I knew in my gut this was the push I needed to finally move near her. Since then, I've broken up with my shitty boyfriend and started packing. My mind was set. But then when I told my job, which I love, they were devastated and made me an incredible offer, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I'm a Capricorn and very work and success driven, and this offer honestly makes me feel like I'll finally achieve what I've always wanted. It's a dream come true and serious money. They want me to commit to at least 2 years.
Ooh,
Now I'm torn.
2 years.
I'm so fucking excited about this baby. I already love them more than anything. My sister thinks I should take the job since babies don't even remember shit, but I yearn to be near them. My job has told me they will grant me up to 2 months off a year to visit with the baby. Oh no, I'm going to cry. Any help would be greatly appreciated. Signed, Sabrina.
Sabrina, take that job, girl.
Take that job,
that job.
baby. Take
That
that
girl,
job.
that job loves you as much as your sister, it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
that is so rare. It sounds like they're really making an effort to keep you in a way that's happy and like you're beloved there, and it sounds like you deserve it.
And they're giving you 2 months to see the baby a year? 2 months off for vacation a year to go see your baby, your sister's baby?
And your sister's right. That baby is not going to remember shit.
That baby's not going to really remember shit, but your sister, here's what I will say. Like, I, as a sister who had a baby, Leanne lived in LA when I had Birdie, and I had a really tough time, and Leanne lived like on the other side of the 405. So LA people, like, it was a journey for Leanne to come see me, but she really made it like a priority to see me. And so the times when she would, it felt really special. Like, I was so grateful for all of the times that I knew she was like exhausted and came to see me anyway. And I feel like that, listen, travel is really tricky right now. I get it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the same will be true for you with your sister. Hopefully everybody will get vaccinated. The world will start opening up again. And then maybe you're just like a Southwest flight away, you know? And like, I feel like you'll make, just from reading your letter, I feel like you'll make the effort to be there as much as you can.
Yeah.
And I think your sister knows that. And it sounds like she's also like, take the fucking job,
Yeah,
you know?
I think one of the things, the top thing you did was break up with your boyfriend. Very proud of
Yes.
you.
Yes.
We don't need no dead weight. I am
Not in 2021.
No.
I am not a mother or a sister who has had a baby, but I am a fun black auntie. And let me tell you something right now. If they give you hella money in 2 years, you know, when that baby can really start remembering you, you're going to be the rich fun aunt. And that's the fucking thing to do, baby. Like, Also, I like to think about what makes you happy, and I think that sometimes when you're doing something, like if you were to move home, you can become resentful for missing the opportunities that you leave. And like I know that you sound like such a wonderful person, but I don't want any part of you to feel resentful towards your sister or your sweet little baby for leaving your job in the middle of this pandemic. I really think that it's been a really hard year and you want to get as close to them as possible. But also, even right now, when your sister has that baby, who knows what's going on out here in these streets? You might not be able to see them as much as you want anyway, and then you've lost your job.
Right.
So I really do think that you should do your job, make hella bank, take those 2 months, take those 2 months off, and then go see the baby when it's real good and can hold his own head up, and you can smell the top of his head, and then have all your fucking money and then move there later. But I totally think that it's an opportunity for you to be the most fulfilled auntie that you could possibly be, and I think that that's what you actually should do.
Because that's also part of being a good aunt, by the way, is being an example of how someone can be happy and live the life that they want to live. And that's really important for a little kid to see. And so, you can Zoom with that baby every night. You can read bedtime stories to that baby through technology.
Do you guys want to know something cute?
What?
Yeah.
Michelle's baby fully knows me and my voice.
That's so cute.
And it's just from all of the hours that we've been on FaceTime, and I've been on speakerphone.
Yeah.
While Michelle was pregnant, and then when the baby was little. And as soon as I met that baby looked at me and was like, oh, it's you. Oh, cool. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you're here, because that it is true. That baby my voice is in that baby's little brain.
Yeah. So you can just do all the auntie things you want to do using technology. It's a modern baby of 2021, and it will love anything you do for it. But also that baby already loves you back as much as you love that baby, and that baby, I bet, would want you to lead your happiest life.
That baby wants you to lead
also
your
as
happiest
someone
life.
who has I have 7 aunts, aunties that just give you money is fucking lit. So just throwing that out there as a niece who's had some cool aunts. Just saying, it's pretty chill.
So Sabrina, good luck to you. Keep us posted on what you decided to do, and keep us posted on the baby.
Yeah, we love babies up here.
We love them. Well, guys, thank you.
We did it.
Keep sending those merch pics. I love them. They're so cute.
Everyone's so cute.
And everyone has
cute.
the best smiles. A lot of you cut your heads off, which I get it, but I love it when I get to see your faces.
Me too. Please subscribe, download, share our podcast. I see you when you share our podcast. I love it. It's nice. We appreciate it.
We sure do.
Because I guess this is just how things happen. I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, it's weird, right? Because we were just talking about how we just want to do a good thing and not have to worry about the business side of anything. And we were just talking to Derek about how you want to make this great art, but you have
also
to
smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not that this podcast is great art, but we just want to put something into the world that's lovely, but it only exists by the grace of you and smashing that subscribe button.
Well, that's the other thing that I forgot to say that I to you guys that I deeply I wasn't going to take up the interview, but whatever. But I reached that point where I was I would much rather do paid posts on Instagram and not have to take a shitty acting job in something where I'm I'm not feeling this character sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's so much more worthwhile to be able to hold out for acting jobs Girls 5 Eva that I'm obsessed with, and really get into it than to like have to just take some terrible show that's going to make me feel bad about myself.
Right. Yeah.
And so I'll sell you some stuff online. I promise you, I'm only going to sell you stuff that I either have used myself or I've tried and I like. That is my one promise in all my selling of shit.
Yeah.
Is that I really do try everything. And if I don't like, I have turned things down, guys. I have turned them down. Believe it.
I will say that is true. I know that to be true of you, and I would totally tell everyone that you are lying if you were, and you're not.
I'm not lying. I've gotten some fucking things. And I'm like, no, I don't. That's fucking bullshit.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And by the way, I've even seen you be like, oh, I kind of like this thing, and then somebody will say like, oh, you know what's the problem with that thing, and then you like reconsider it. And so,
well, Emily Beebe is always my arbiter of like things that are controversial. Although she did not warn me that one time that I did a paid post for milk that the big dairy. The big dairy was going to come after me. People like mad about big dairy were going to come after me. And she's like, I honestly didn't know. I like send, because Emily Beebe is like, she's like so aware of everything.
Yes.
And she like researches companies really quickly because her whole job is research. Guys, if you didn't know that, now you do. Emily Beebe is a researcher. And so I'll be like, hey, is this company problematic because they asked me to do a paid post and I like am into it, but if it's problematic, I'm out. And then she'll write back like, they did have a discrimination lawsuit in 2012. It seems like they handled it very well and blah, 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 blah. But like, that's my impression of Emily. But the milk one that I did a couple years ago, I really got some mage backlash by people about big dairy. And I said to Emily, I was like, what the fuck, dude? You said it was fine. And she's like, I forgot about big dairy.
Emily's a vegan, so she's never tangled with big dairy.
Well, but she just was like, yeah, I don't know. I forgot. I guess I just forgot about big dairy.
Listen, anything that has to do with agriculture. You remember when those cattle farmers sued Oprah about saying she was never going to eat a hamburger again?
I swear to God, the only people that have ever almost taken Oprah down was big cattle.
Right. So, it's where does milk come out of? Cattle's girlfriends.
I guess so. But the people that were coming after me were like the people that were anti big dairy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But they're so tough because they've had to fight the dairy gang.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's also funny whenever anyone like comes after me for Olay because they're like blah 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 blah. And guys, this is like, we might have to cut this out. But like, can I just be honest with you? I've tried everything, and you know what? My shit breaks out so bad. Olay is the SPF is like the only one that has never caused me to break out.
Yeah.
I love working with Olay, but Olay they don't shy away from the fact that like they have, researchers and scientists in labs whose job it is to study skin and to like figure out how to best replicate the things that your skin needs to regenerate or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're like very into science and STEM.
I'm on a skin train right now. I'm gonna.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
You're getting your.
I'm getting
your
my
skin
regimen
program?
I'm getting my skin program ready. You guys, last year we did a lot of body work. Now we're working on the skin and the gut.
How many steps?
I ordered some stuff. I think it's like, cleanse and exfoliate, toner. I got serum, moisturizer,
Love
and then
it.
an oil that goes after the moisture. Like it's all coming, but I got a couple
I
different
love it.
things. So I got some stuff coming, and I'll keep you guys posted.
I look forward to it. I love a glass skin moment.
Yeah, I'm definitely like just a huge fan of multiple steps.
Yeah, you need it. That's where I'm at right now.
I like up to 11. I think is acceptable.
Oh yeah, especially if it's if you're doing toner in between everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm a big toner
Yes.
bitch. I believe in toner deeply.
Well, do you have because I've been like looking into what type of skin I have. It's like if you have loose skin, toner's really great, obviously because it tones it. And then if you have like resistant skin, the toner it does the opposite.
Makes it too tight.
Yeah, it makes it too tight. So like I've been like
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah, so like I've been really trying to delve in. Also like skin, like my skin type, because like a lot of shit is just for white people. So
For
they'll
sure.
be like,
For
they'll
sure.
be like
That's
100,000 people love this, and they'll be like 100,000 white girls. My skin is different. So I'm
Right.
just like checking in on stuff that would go good on my skin and that feels good. So I'm getting new lotion, you guys. I'm really just trying new shit.
I love it.
You're just getting into
Mhm.
it.
I love it.
I recently have started putting an oil on my face. That's a new turn of events for me.
Yeah.
I've always shied away because historically speaking, I've been prone to breakouts. But I'm moving in a different direction.
We're all doing new things.
we're
in
always
2021.
learning new information, including about things about our skin and things that were verboten when 5 years ago. Turns out they're actually great for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but like that thing is kind of annoying to me sometimes when I like do those posts when people are like, blah, like how could you blah blah blah, and it's like, baby, I don't know. I gotta send these kids to school and
Yeah.
pay my rent and like
Again,
I
just
mean,
because
It's okay.
just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean
Right.
somebody else shouldn't do it.
That's what I was going
right.
What you're describing is probably exactly how people feel when I'm like, these clothes are cute. You should make them in 3XL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're probably like, oh, Jesus Christ, this one. Like every fucking time this ad comes on, or, it's okay. It's just, but you just have to recognize that not everybody feels as passionate about every facet of everything.
Well,
that
Also, it's like 90% of the time, anytime it's like about Olay and then somebody is like giving me shit about clean beauty, then you go to their page and they're a part of some Ponzi scheme where they sell some clean beauty brand. You know what I mean? And I'm like, honey, I can't, like, I'm not asking for your samples of your fucking shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, bless up, guys.
Smash that subscribe button.
yeah,
That's
that's it.
it. That's right.
That's it.
That's right. Thank you, Shantira, putting us back on track. Smash that subscribe button. Tell us how we're doing at our email, which I can't find right now. What is it?
Busy doing her best at gmail.com.
Busy doing her best at gmail.com. There's still merch avail. I said it like it was limited. It's not.
It's not.
You can buy
It
it
will
whenever.
never sell out.
It's fine because we make it to
It's
order
made to
because that's a
order.
greener way of doing things because we were trying to be considerate of our environment.
Which should make the clean beauty people very happy.
Yeah.
They'll
Well,
be mad about
get off.
something. So
Yeah. Everybody's going to be mad about something.
Yes.
Guys, I love you.
love you.
Yes, we love you. And we'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to you next week.
Seems too long, but okay.
Have a great week, everybody.
Have a great week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh no.